Chapter 306. Dugo was hopeless. Now, he was completely immersed in the physics that Zhang Feng had mentioned. Although he was very curious about the physics, he only subconsciously thought that it was definitely the so-called martial arts of the boorish man. He despised those things from the bottom of his heart. He took the initiative to take the responsibility of guarding the door, so that they could go out freely. Hearing this, Zhang Sunchong and Chang Chumo raised their hands in agreement. They did not want to do such a joyous thing. Why would they put a fly on the side when they had nothing to do? Just like that, the two of them carried Zhang Feng and walked slowly out of the tavern. When they walked out of the tavern, they realized that the banquet outside had already ended. The sun had also moved from the top of their heads to the west. On the street, a group of bare-chested men were holding palm leaf fans or straw fans, swaying back and forth on the street. It seemed that they had eaten too much and were now digesting the food. However, at this moment, they saw Chang Chumo and Zhang Sunchong carrying Zhang Feng out of the tavern. They followed the gaze of the three of them and saw that the door of Zhang Feng's tavern had been broken into pieces and was still piled up at the door. Zhang Feng was quite popular. At this moment, when they saw this, everyone was shocked. Although they were afraid of the stubbornness of these two devils, Zhang Feng was being carried by them. They did not know if he was drunk or something, but now he was calling these two guys brothers? How could this be? Uncle, he could not help but pick up a stick. Although his legs were shaking, he still stood on the road and blocked Chang Chumo's path. Two masters, did Feng offend the two of you in any way? If that's the case, I'll help him. Get out of here. Chang Chumo had a bad temper and was a stubborn child. At this moment, when he saw that a slave dared to block his path, he could not help but wave his hand in annoyance. They were waiting for Zhang Feng to treat them to a drink and also wanted to see the so-called physics knowledge. Who would not be annoyed when they were suddenly blocked? But this time, Uncle, he did not retreat. Although the cold sweat on his face had wet his chest, he still did not retreat. At this moment, the dog took out a stone from nowhere and threw it at Chang Chumo's big butt from behind. Chang Chumo grimaced, but before he could turn around, Zhu Zi also picked up a handful of stinky, maggot-infested black mud from the roadside and smashed it on Zhang Sunchong's face. In an instant, these two guys were furious. Damn, little bastard, you dare to hit me? Believe it or not, Grandpa will feed you. Beat him. Save Fengzi. At some point, the old scholar held a bamboo pole and hit Chang Chumo with it. Although Chang Chumo did not faint, at this moment he saw stars. Men. Fengzi has been caught by the devil. Save Fengzi for me. The men in Guanzhong were so united. Even if Zhang Feng had only given them a little favor, when they saw that Zhang Feng was taken away by bad people, they could not sit still. Even if they knew that they might lose their lives, they would still try to save Zhang Feng from the tiger's mouth. As the crowd dodged their gazes, they rushed forward. Although the two of them were stubborn, it was only Cheng Cheng's words. When it really came down to it, they didn't dare to make a move. What should they do? If they killed one of them with a punch, although the authorities would not do anything to them, the god of plague at home would skin them alive. Involuntarily, the two guys finally woke up and hurriedly shook Zhang Feng awake. Zhang Sun even pinched Zhang Feng's tongue with his finger, making Zhang Feng spit out the wine in his stomach. Only then did they get out of the predicament. Zhang Feng woke up shakily and saw that he was surrounded by so many familiar faces. He could not help but be stunned. Old scholar? Old he, Zhuzi's father? What are you doing? Fengzi, how did you offend these two gods of plague? Quick, don't be afraid. Even if I have to risk my life, I will save you. Quick, let Fengzi go. Otherwise, Lao Tzu will smash you to death. Stop. Although Zhang Feng still did not understand what happened here, he vaguely remembered some time. He hurriedly explained. Fellow villagers, you misunderstood. We're brothers. We're tired of drinking in the tavern, so we're going to find a better place to drink. Let's go. Let's all go. Today Zhang Feng, will treat everyone. If anyone doesn't go, they'll be looking down on me, Zhang Feng. Zhang Feng roared while swaying unsteadily. This time, Everyone was dumbfounded. Was there a F***king mistake? However, the old scholar was still worried. After all, the shadow of a human and the bark of a tree. Neither of these two was good. At this time, Zhang Feng was obviously guilty. What could he do with Zhang Feng at this time? Fengzi, tell me honestly, what are you doing? Where are you going to drink? Old scholar, you? Chang Chumo gasped and said, What do you mean? Are you going to buy Fengzi? Didn't we hear that Fengzi was too embarrassed to agree to this marriage? As your brother, aren't we anxious too? You just want to take your brother to see it for himself so that he can agree to this marriage, right? What are you doing? Are you trying to kill him? Chapter 307. Everyone was dumbfounded. So that was the case? But how could they not know that a person who could be called the Devil King in Chong and be a good person? Feng Zi was a god given to them by the heavens. Their child was still hoping to get a little bit of Zhang Feng's true teachings and bring glory to their ancestors. If these things led Feng Zi astray, wouldn't that be terrible? No! If Feng Zi doesn't agree, no one is allowed to take Feng Zi away. The old elementary scholar was also going all out. He blocked everyone. Although no one said anything, they had already explained everything with their actions. They raised sticks and stones high one by one. Even Chang Chumo felt a headache coming on. Was it so difficult for Lao Tzu to bring his brothers to the brothel? F***ck. Just as Chang Chumo was about to lose his temper, a bowl of hand-squeezed sour orange juice the size of a quail's egg was poured down Zhang Feng's throat. That sour feeling caused even the people present to feel a toothache. However, the effects were visible. After a few shivers, Zhang Feng finally woke up with a red face. He stared with bloodshot eyes and smacked his lips. In an instant, he vomited again. F***ck. Who the hell poisoned Lao Tzu? F***ck. What is this? It's the green-orange juice that Mother made. Steamed Bun hid behind the others and said timidly. This time, Zhang Feng was even more jealous. But this thing was still useful. Zhang Feng finally woke up completely. He had to wake up. He seriously suspected that if he was forced to drink another bowl of this thing, he would definitely die. He waved his hand and said, I'm fine. Thank you for your concern. I'm going to drink with my brothers. There's no need to welcome me with sticks, right? Disperse. Disperse, all of you. Let's go to the tavern another day. Feng Zi will treat you to a drink. That's right. Feng Zi is going to discuss the opening of an academy with us this time. If you continue to be like this, do you want those academies? Academies? Everyone was shocked to hear this. Then, everyone was in an uproar. At this moment, everyone seemed to have understood something. So Feng Zi wanted to set up an academy for them? Sun Go Zi and the others had already spread the news that Feng Zi wanted the old scholar to set up an academy. At this moment, when it came out from the mouths of these stubborn people, everyone finally exploded. How could they still dare to accept it? They hurriedly moved out of the way. But when the old scholar came to a sudden realization, he frowned. This lunatic, he still refused to let his old bones rest. However, an old elementary scholar was an old elementary scholar. How could he be dismissed with just a few words? Moreover, all of Zhang Feng's matters were basically handled in small taverns. Furthermore, in this world, where else could there be wine that could compare to his wine? He couldn't help but ask in a hurry, Well, where are you going to drink? Also, what did you guys say you wanted him to see for himself? He had a nagging feeling that something was wrong. Zhang Feng said in a low, muffled voice, Well, I invited them to the brothel to drink. It's just a simple drinking and dancing. As he spoke, he ran away with the other two. Only the dumbfounded crowd was left. To the brothel? What the hell? This, oh my god! Feng Zi is finally enlightened. After being stunned for a moment, the old scholar finally smacked his lips and looked at the backs of the three people, stroking his white beard and laughing out loud. And the tense atmosphere finally turned into a burst of laughter in this sentence. Ha ha ha! No wonder Feng Zi is so secretive. It turns out that he really wants to enlighten himself. Yes! Good. Good. This time, the marriage with the Zhang family is a success. Ha 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 ha. Old scholar, you found a good matchmaker. Let's go. Let's go to Feng Zi's tavern to drink. By the way, we'll help him look after the tavern and wait for him to come back. Ha ha ha. Chang'an was big. In fact, it was quite big. But in terms of small, it was also very small. And at this time, after Li Yuan's birthday banquet, when there were many people, it was as if he had grown wings. Although Zhang Feng said that he wanted to watch the singers sing, who would believe it? With stubbornness, how could he run away? Therefore, the matter of Zhang Feng going to drink wine with prostitutes became a popular topic for everyone to digest delicious food. Finally, Zhang Feng didn't want to be a monk anymore. He was finally enlightened. Among them, the most excited ones were none other than the old elementary scholar and the others. But when this matter was blown to Li Shimin's ears, Li Shimin was dumbfounded. Are you sure that Cheng Chumo and Zhang Sun took Zhang Feng to drink wine with prostitutes? In the corner of the imperial garden, little Gizi called Li Shimin to the side and deliberately turned his back to Li Yuan. This matter was seen by my subordinates with their own eyes. So it should be true. Hearing this, Li Shimin, he couldn't help but burst out laughing. Ha 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 ha. This is really the second happy thing today. Li Shimin smacked his lips, pointed at Cheng Yaojin and the others and said, "Wait. Tell them and let them be happy. He actually went to the brothel too?" Thinking about it, Li Shimin couldn't help laughing again, which made everyone a little confused. Chapter 308. Yan Lai Restaurant. This was the top brothel in Chang'an. It was also set up by the government. The singers, prostitutes, and some women here were all carefully selected. Of course, some of them were slaves bought from merchants or Turks and other neighboring countries. And the women selected from all the brothels in the Tang dynasty were all sent here. Some of them were even women who had committed serious crimes and were forcibly taken in by the government as prostitutes. This was the heaven of every brothel woman's dream, and also the nightmare of every woman. But even so, all the prostitutes of the Tang dynasty who had no one to rely on would fight to get in. Those who could enter and leave this place would spend at least in the Bai dynasty that night. And that was only the qualification to enter the brothel. If it was something else, then it was not a problem to spend up to 100 taels of silver in one night. At this time, the brothel business was very quiet. The servants, as well as the gorgeously dressed women who welcomed customers at the entrance of the street, were all listlessly touching their bellies and squatting in the shade to digest their food. They naturally went to the banquet just now. But at this time, loud laughter came from the corner of the street not far away. Although this was not normal, how many people would come here at this time? So it did not attract the attention of the crowd. But when Cheng Chumo's voice fell into the ears of the brothel keeper was furious. She hurried out of the brothel and was instantly stunned. "You're all dead. The benefactor is here. As long as you're not dead, get up." She cursed everyone with vulgarities and shouted at the brothel keeper, "Girls, Master Chan and Master Sun are here. Get the hell out here." In an instant, the brothel was full of chatter. And the brothel keeper did not have time to wait. She waved her handkerchief, and a pair of squinted eyes and a smile like a chrysanthemum came to greet them. "Yo, this morning, I heard the cries of magpies outside the window. I thought it was something big. It turns out that Master Chun and Master Sun are here. Ha ha ha. Mom, your big business is here." Zhang Sun Chong and Cheng Chumo were obviously regulars here. He laughed heartily as he pulled out a banknote worth 10 taels from his bosom and stuffed it into the procuress's hand. In an instant, the madam who looked like a ghost laughed miserably. In any case, Zhang Feng vomited. He almost didn't want to go. However, with two mechanical arms holding him down, he did not even have the chance to break free. After seeing the banknotes, how could those women sit still? A vast expanse of them stuck to him. The two of them still had a conscience. He pointed at Zhang Feng and said, "Today, this is the main character. Madam, if you don't serve Lao Tzu well today, do you believe that I won't smash your brothel tonight?" Others did not know Cheng Chumo's identity, but the procuress did. Moreover, she had seen the crown prince in fear and had come here countless times with these two guys. Even if she ate a bear's heart and a leopard's gall, she would not dare to offend Chang Chumo and the others. However, at this time he was with a stranger. Although he looked very handsome, this was very unfamiliar. Although she had doubts in her heart. But when she saw Zhang Sunchong and Chang Chumo so serious, she hurriedly waved her hand and shouted, "Jing Shu, where the hell are you? Get out here. Your Mr. Right is here." Hearing that, Chang Chumo had an impulse to vomit blood. Zhang Sunchong also felt the same. This Jing Shu was famous for her beauty in Chang'an City, but that woman was a chaste woman. Unless it was her Mr. Right, she would definitely give up her life. She was too beautiful, so no one dared to force her. "Brother Zhang Feng, congratulations. Congratulations on your double happiness." Zhang Sunchong and Chang Chumo each patted Zhang Feng's shoulder. In an instant, Zhang Feng's eyes rolled back and he almost fainted. He did not understand. Wasn't it just a prostitute? Was it necessary? "If you want it, I'll give it to you. I'm here to experience the brothels of the ancient times, not to do that kind of thing." But he did not dare to say it now. He could only be carried into the brothel by the two, surrounded by a group of women. In an exquisite and small attic on the 3rd floor of the brothel, a woman with a thin face but incomparably beautiful, cold and elegant, was gently stroking a guqin. She was very beautiful. She was as beautiful as a snow lotus on an iceberg. She was once the daughter of a big shot in the previous dynasty. When she was only 10 years old, she was sold to the brothel. 9 years. Although she was born in such a brothel, her amazing knowledge and talent in poetry and song made her famous in the entire Chang'an City in an instant. She had heard the brothel keeper talk about the Mr. Right countless times. However, all of them disappointed her to the core. So, she never stepped out of the clean place that she risked her life to fight for here. Ding! She gently plucked the strings of the zither in her hand. A melodious zither sound instantly filled the air like a refreshing breeze. This caused Zhang Feng to suddenly stop in his tracks. He looked at the 3rd floor of the brothel in astonishment, at that melodious zither sound. He asked in surprise, "This sound of the guqin?" Chapter 309. Guzheng. Especially an ancient Guzheng song. It was very particular. Zhang Feng didn't know much. After all, it was an elective class in university. He took the Guzheng course to show off. But before he could show off, he came here. At this moment, Zhang Feng was stunned when he heard this song. It was the song that made him famous by the school bell, 18 beats of the Wuxia. At this moment, wasn't it similar to the time when he heard this Guzheng song in his memory? It was just that things were still the same, but people were no longer the same. At this moment, everyone saw that Zhang Feng was so intoxicated by this song. Chang Chumo and Zhang Sun were naturally very proud. "Did you see that? My brother knows this song. Go and call Jing Shu out." Who the hell is saying that none of Lao Tzu's brothers know this song? Without waiting for Chang Chumo to finish showing off, Zhang Feng had already recited the meaning of this Guzheng song in his memory. "The sky is boundless. The earth is boundless. The sorrow in my heart is also gone. Life is fleeting like a white steed. But I can't be happy when I'm in my prime. I want to complain to the heavens. The blue sky is not faded. I look up at the clouds in the sky. Who can pass on the 9 beats of nostalgia?" Zhang Feng's voice wasn't loud, but every word was sonorous. In fact, his thoughts at this time were just quiet in the past. In his memory, that cold girl sat indifferently by the window on the 3rd floor, quietly playing this sad song. And because Zhang Feng wanted to show off, he climbed over the wall and ran to the lawn outside the female dormitory to play with the school bell. Although he didn't know if the school bell knew his name in the end, Zhang Feng had no regrets. Because at this moment, the sound of the Guzheng reminded him of those brothers in his gradually blurred memory. It also made him remember his identity at this time. That was enough. And in the attic on the 3rd floor, the sound of the zither trembled slightly, as if she was very excited and hurried. However, she still did not make any move to go downstairs. Instead, she played even more hurriedly. The sound of the zither was sometimes like a storm, sometimes like a quiet snow lotus. At this moment, Everyone was dumbfounded. He forgot that he was in a brothel. The procuress was dumbfounded. It was because she remembered that this song was the first test for every young talent to meet Jingshu. Zhang Feng was the only one who could cause such a huge disturbance in her zither strings. And he remembered one more thing. When the son of a high-ranking official wanted to marry her, Jingshu climbed onto the roof and stubbornly pressed a dagger against her heart. She also set a rule on that day. Whoever could make her play the second song would have the right to step into her loft. She would marry anyone who could unravel her Chu-yi. But what about today? Could it be this mysterious person who could be accompanied by the son of a duke? Was he really Jingshu's destined one? The procuress was shocked. And at this moment, the more terrifying thing was yet to come. Because at this moment, not only did Zhang Feng solve the first song, but he also played the second song according to Jingshu's song like a fool. The third song, the fourth song. Finally, Chang Chumo could not take it anymore. He yawned, hugged the two women, and went to have fun alone. And at the 6th hour, those who could stand on the first floor had long disappeared. As for Swallow Descent Building, it had long been sealed off by a command medallion from Zhang Sunchong. It was better if fewer people knew about such a shocking thing. After Zhang Sun arranged everything, he hugged the two women and went up to the 2nd floor. Finally, the procuress, who was sitting on the stairs and dozing off, and the women who had no business today all left. When the lanterns were lit, only Zhang Feng was left in the entire brothel hall. And at this moment, the song finally stopped. Unknowingly, a refreshing fragrance wafted over, and a woman in an ice-blue dress slowly walked down the stairs. And at this moment, Zhang Feng slowly came back to his senses. But when he looked at the woman, he went completely crazy. You are Sun Xiaoman? How could there be such a coincidence? Wasn't she the school belle? Damn it. Crazy. Am I crazy? Or has the world gone crazy? Isn't this 2F** king crazy? Jingshu saw Zhang Feng so shocked, and a trace of disappointment flashed in her eyes, but she still went forward and bowed to Zhang Feng. This concubine's name is Jingshu. I am not the Sun Xiaoman that young master spoke of. Cold. The coldness in her words. Zhang Feng could not help but shudder. It was a person. This was definitely a person. Although he did not say a word to the school bell in his previous life, he had heard and seen the school bell's speech and singing videos. At this moment, goodbye. But things were still the same, but people were different. Zhang Feng took a deep breath. He also bowed deeply. Miss Jingshu, I am Zhang Feng, Prince Zhang. I wonder if you would rather know the name of the song just now? Zhang Feng nodded. Yes. This is the 18 beats of the Hujia written by Kai Wenji. I wonder if I am right, Miss Jingshu? Yes. Jingshu's eyes were shining, as if she wanted to see through Zhang Feng. A moment later, when Zhang Feng felt uncomfortable all over, Jingshu said softly, It is cold at night. May I invite you to the boudoir to talk in detail? Chapter 310. The room was not big. There was only a flower bed, a tea set, and a table and chairs. The rest could be discussed. It looked so poor. It was simple and plain. After Jingshu invited Zhang Feng into the room, she boiled a small pot of tea. He made some tea foam and placed it on top of an oil lamp to burn it. Although it was inferior tea from the Tang dynasty, the way she boiled the tea was different because she was beautiful. The tea would definitely be fragrant and sweet. During this period, Zhang Feng watched Jingshu's every move. Jingshu was also carefully boiling the tea. Jingshu was very beautiful. Her long eyelashes covered her small but memorable eyes. Her eyes were so clear that no evil thoughts could be seen in them. What does Prince Zhang do for a living? I heard that there is no such person as Prince Zhang in Chang'an City. But I just learned that you are acquainted with Chang Tiniu and the others? Jingshu asked very directly. Zhang Feng was a little confused. Why was she not following the script? Didn't she ask about the lyrics first? Could it be that she was really a transmigrator? Zhang Feng was excited at the thought of this. If he could really meet a transmigrator, and it was the school belle of his previous life, then it would be awesome. This world would not be so lonely. Zhang Feng thought for a while. He said, I was originally from Liang province. A few years ago there was a mountain flood. I was learning from my master outside, so I avoided the disaster. After I finished my apprenticeship, there were many places I could go. I remember that there was a business in Chang, and that had been shelved for many years. So I came to Chang and a few years ago and opened a small tavern. Although the business is not very good, it is very leisurely. Oh? Jing Shu frowned slightly when she heard this. I'm really sorry. I hope you can forgive me. I don't know about your family matters. It's fine, it's fine. Zhang Feng waved his hand and asked, Miss Jing Shu, where are you from? Why were they in this Swallow Descent restaurant? Looking at Miss Jing Shu, she is not a prostitute. Why was she born in a prostitute? To tell you the truth, when Jing Shu was 10 years old, she was sent here because her family used to be a high-ranking official of the previous dynasty. And because Jing Shu used to learn zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting from the geisha here, she was blessed by the ancestors. Because of her talent and intelligence, this little girl was able to find a place to stay in this dusty place. Then, Jing Shu told Zhang Feng everything that had happened to her, including her age. Zhang Feng couldn't help but feel a little strange. Didn't the women of this era care a lot about their own information? Why did he ask about her family the moment he met her, and then report his birthday to a stranger? This isn't right. Was the Tang dynasty so liberal? Or was she testing him? Zhang Feng couldn't help but ask, I wonder if Miss Jing Shu has ever heard of a musical instrument called the piano? He was looking forward to Jing Shu saying it out loud or nodding her head. But he was wrong. This woman was a woman from the great Tang, a woman through and through, although he was disappointed. But Zhang Feng didn't feel too much despair. After all, transmigration wasn't just a visit. Then, he chatted with Jing Shu for a while with a lack of interest and then took his leave. He really couldn't stand that kind of silence. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control himself. Goodbye, Jing Shu. He went downstairs. But he met Du Go, who had a strange look in his eyes. Brother Zhang Feng, you went into Miss Jing Shu's room? Yes. What's wrong? Zhang Feng asked. Du Go did not reply, instead sizing up Zhang Feng from head to toe, left to right, and asked, You've only been up there for less than 2 hours and you've already come out? Didn't you do anything? I drank a bowl of tea. Bing, are you drunk? Or are you suffering from hysteria? Why are you talking so weirdly today? I'm weird? Du Go exploded. Do you know what it means to be able to enter Miss Jing Shu's room? Do you know how many people in the Tang dynasty have designs on Miss Jing Shu? Do you know? Without waiting for this angry lemon spirit to finish, Zhang Feng interrupted him and asked, Can we talk properly? What ability does Miss Jing Shu have? You don't know? This time, it was Du Go's turn to be confused. Zhang Feng spread his hands honestly. Du Go almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He pulled Zhang Feng to sit on a stool on the first floor and said, Brother, you're awesome. Do you know that Jing Shu is the most important woman in the hearts of all the stubborn men in Chang and City? All the stubborn men fought once for Jing Shu. But in the end, for some reason, all of them signed a silent agreement. That is, only someone who can really use his own talent to break Jing Shu's zither song is qualified to marry her. Zhang Feng was stunned. Are these King stubborn idiots? Isn't it just a song? What's so difficult about it? Difficult? Du Go really wanted to hammer Zhang Feng to death. He stared at Zhang Feng with bloodshot eyes and said, Do you know that Miss Jing Shu's song is the only copy? Rumor has it that it was passed down to her by an old palace made after she accepted Jing Shu as her disciple. Even if the princess wanted to learn, she wouldn't pass it down. How difficult do you think this song is? Zhang Feng was speechless. On the other hand, Du Go's face was like a dog's. He said word by word, Do you know that once someone breaks Jing Shu's song, it means that Miss Jing Shu is going to marry him, no matter who he is, no matter who he is, no matter how old he is. Pfft. Zhang Feng spat a mouthful of old blood on Du Go's face. What did you say? Chapter 3:11. Zhang Feng was dumbfounded. What kind of bullsh*t logic was this? Wasn't it just the 18 beats of the Wuxia? Did she want to marry someone just to break this tune? What if the other party was an old man who was about 80 or 80 years old with half his neck in the ground? Mother f*** cur. You still want to marry him? F***ck. What the f***ck? What kind of f***king rule was this? Not only that, Zhang Feng thought of a horrible thing. Was it the rule that Du Go had mentioned before, the one that all the stubborn people in Chang and had to obey? Had he unintentionally broken it? Zhang Feng felt a little dizzy. He could not help but think of the real stubborn people in Chang and city. Zhang Sun Chong, Chang Chumo, Wei Shuyu, and the freak Du Go. These four were the real leaders of the stubborn people in Chang and city. Although these men usually did not show off, they controlled all the stubborn people in Chang and city. What the f***ck? Why the f***ck did I come here for nothing? I'm really here to look for excitement. Thinking of this, Zhang Feng hurriedly asked, Brother, is it too late for me to back out now? It's too late. Now that you think about it, I'm here. What does that mean? All the stubborn people in Chang and city know about this. Seeing that Zhang Feng wanted to run, Du Go said dejectedly, Don't even think about running. Now that the door is closed, you can't get out of Chang'an. Tomorrow morning, if Tiniu and Zhang Sun Chong take action, you might still have a whole corpse. Chun Tiniu taking action, what good would it do? Zhang Feng wanted to cry. Why the f***ck did I come here for nothing? Why did I come here for nothing? F***ck. They were all gods of plagues. He could not even hide from them. But now he had unintentionally offended these men. Chang Chumo, Zhang Sun Chong, and Wei Shuyu were all lustful men. If they knew about this, then Lao Tzu no. De Bing, you're the only one who has nothing to do right now. Brother, I have a favor to ask of you. Du Go rolled his eyes and asked, What is it? Hurry up and tell Lao Li about this. Tell him to look for Lord Zhongsun immediately. Didn't he have dealings with the Lord Zhongsun? We have to find someone to settle this matter. All right, that's easy, but what's the physics you're talking about? I want to see it for myself. Zhang Feng was about to agree, but when the words reached his mouth, he was stunned. Who would have thought that this guy would be so cunning? All right, you big pancake. You're trying to take advantage of the situation. Fine. Wasn't it just physics? Let me tell you. Go and do the experiment for me first. As long as you can complete this task for me, then what's wrong with Lao Tzu teaching you? What is it? Du Go was also trembling with excitement. After so much scheming, he finally managed to dig out 2 types of bows from Zhang Feng. Zhang Feng didn't waste any more words. He said, Don't tell anyone else about this. Let me tell you, if you can make a 10-kilogram iron and 10 kilograms cotton throw down from 100 feet and make them fall to the ground at the same time, I'll pass it to you. But there's a requirement. On the cotton, other than the rope, you can't tie anything heavier than 1 kilogram. This was aerodynamics, which was also a kind of physics trick. If Du Go could really crack it, then it meant that he had a talent in physics. What's wrong with giving him some elementary school knowledge? After all, when the school was established, this grandson would be a ready-made free teacher. Sure enough, when Du Go heard this, he frowned deeply and started counting with his fingers. Zhang Feng patted him on the shoulder and said lightly, Don't doubt the authenticity of this thing. Zhang Feng said, Have you ever seen anyone bluffing? This is actually the most basic question in physics. If you can't even solve this, then I'm sorry, you don't deserve to be my Zhang Feng's disciple. Kid, this is the punishment for tricking Lao Tzu. You can slowly crack it. Zhang Feng looked outside the door. There were groups of patrolling soldiers. He didn't go back. He found an empty bedroom and fell asleep. But he didn't notice. Ever since he went downstairs, Jing Shu had been watching his every move. How could she not know Du Go's real identity? This little devil was being toyed around by him. Moreover, who was this old Li that he was talking about? After hearing Du Go's alarmist words, he immediately thought of a countermeasure and not just exclaimed in shock. This was out of Jing Shu's expectations. That Lao Li was Li Chengqian? Jing Shu couldn't understand. But at this time, she simply leaned on the bed frame and slowly savored the physics that Zhang Feng was talking about. 10 kilograms of iron and 10 kilograms of cotton at the same time? Interesting, your future husband. What kind of person are you to this song? Then what is this so-called piano? When can you come and marry me? When can I wear the wedding dress? Involuntarily, Jingshu's face showed a touch of sadness again. The cold moonlight shone through the attic window and onto Jingshu. The reflection fell on the first floor, where Zhang Feng was standing just now. And Du Go, like a wooden statue, stood on the first floor of the brothel. But everything that happened here had already awakened Li Shimin, who had fallen asleep long ago. Chapter 312. After a busy day, not only did he solve the estrangement between him and Father Emperor, but he also dealt with Tubo's matter. Today could be considered as a double blessing. Therefore, Li Shimin and Li Yuan had a heart-to-heart talk. After telling each other about their relationship as father and son, he was very happy. Happy, he and Empress Zhangsun went to bed. However, at 2:45 in the morning, the small yellow door hurriedly whispered something in the ear of the guard at the door. Then, the guard at the door of the bedroom hurriedly brought the small yellow door's report and passed it on to the small eunuch in charge of the inner palace. Only then did the small eunuch wake up Li Shimin, trembling with fear. Your Majesty, just now, the spy outside the palace reported a secret letter. It's about Chang Chumo and the others. Not a moment later, a word faintly sounded from the dragon bed that the small eunuch did not dare to raise his head. Speak! Rumor has it that Chang Chumo and Zhang Sun brought a mysterious man into Yen Lai Lu. The mysterious man matched Miss Jingshu's zither music. Currently, he has already entered Miss Jingshu's boudoir. Oh, ha 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 ha. This is another good thing that Jin heard today. That's right. Pass Jin's decree. Let Wei Shuyu send a message to all the stubborn people in Chang'an City. Whoever dares to have designs on Miss Jingshu, or whoever dares to inquire about the mysterious man, no matter who it is, kill. When the small eunuch heard this, his whole body trembled with disgust. He hurriedly pushed out in fear. However, at this moment, Li Shimin spoke again. Tell this good news to their father. The fun has just begun. Ha 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 ha. The small eunuch had already retreated. However, at this moment, Li Shimin was no longer sleepy. Empress Zhangsun asked suspiciously, Second brother, is that official prostitute your idea? Li Shimin thought for a moment, then held Zhangsuan's unsullied waist and said, We didn't think of anything before, but last time, when we found out that he actually rejected that marriage, we thought, what happened to Brother Zhang Feng? Could it be that there is some hidden danger? Therefore, I was wondering if I could find him a concubine. Even a servant girl would be fine. After all, Brother Zhang Feng is alone and his life is poor. He doesn't even have someone to wash his clothes or cook his meals. I feel guilty in my heart. That's why I asked Wei Shuyu about it. I didn't expect that I would really get the answer. In Chang'an City, there really is such a strange woman. Thus, we decided to beat them at their own game. Zhangsuan's unsullied face looked at Li Shimin suspiciously, which made Li Shimin a little unnatural. Well, let's sleep. We are sleepy. However, Empress Zhangsun still didn't say a word. She just stared straight at Li Shimin. Second brother? After some time, Li Shimin was about to fall asleep. However, at this moment, Empress Zhangsun asked leisurely, I want to ask you something. Every time you go out of the palace in plain clothes, do you really go to find Brother Zhang Feng? On the other side, when the hour was about to reach the hour of the morning, a team of Jinwu guards, holding the emperor's token and 3 small yellow flags on the backs of their horses, came out of the imperial city. After leaving the imperial city, the team immediately divided into 3 groups and then went in 3 directions to the mansions of Chang Yaojin, Zhang Sunwuji, and Du Ruhui. Even if it was the great idiot Yuqi, he could only stare with wide eyes at that imperial order, at Wei Shuyu's haughty manner as she sped past his eyes. Cheng's mansion. Wei Shuyu came to Cheng's mansion in person. It was worthy of being the home of the army god. Although it was late at night, the 10 generals at the gate were still standing straight. If all the lights were blown out, strangers passing by would definitely be mistaken for stone or clay statues. Clatter, clatter, clatter. The moment the faint sound of horse hooves sounded. At the gate of Cheng's mansion, the 10 generals in armor also looked at the place where the sound of horse hooves came from. Their hands subconsciously grasped the hilts of their swords at their waists. This was instinct. This was the instinct of soldiers. And it was in the middle of the night. Those who could come here were either from the palace or enemies. Who are you? At this moment, a man with a body like an iron tower took a step forward. In an instant, the 10 servants formed a simple battle formation. The guard shouted angrily. His voice was like a thunderclap, and the sound of horse hooves that were rapidly approaching became a little chaotic. However, at this moment, in the sound of horse hooves in the distance, Wei Shuyu shouted anxiously, "Uncle Ning, don't shoot. I'm Shuyu. I'm Wei Shuyu." Hearing this, the guards at the gate of Cheng's mansion breathed a deep sigh of relief. And at this moment, in the shadow of the gate of Cheng's mansion, a man also in armor jumped to the front of the crowd with a straw in his mouth. He was the Uncle Ning that Wei Shuyu mentioned. He was also the leader of the guards this time. His sword-like eyes looked at the people who were galloping from not far away. He shouted, "It's the middle of the night. Why did you come out instead of staying in the palace?" While speaking, Wei Shuyu and others also appeared at the gate of Cheng's mansion. She held up a token and said, "I'm here to find Uncle Chang by the Emperor's order." Chapter 313. In the mansion, in the front yard. The night in the Chang manor wasn't quiet at all. The endless snoring sounds reverberated throughout the entire manor in a rhythmic manner, never once stopping. In the living room of the Chang mansion, Chang Yaojin put on a coat and yawned. He glanced at Wei Shuyu and asked, "Kid, what's the matter that requires you to come in the middle of the night?" "Uncle Chang, is Chumo back?" Wei Shuyu asked cautiously. "Chumo? Didn't that kid go with brother Zhangfeng? Maybe he's still drinking. Why, does the emperor want to summon him?" No. It's like this, Uncle Chang." Seeing Wei Shuyu cowering, Chang Yaojin frowned and casually clenched his fists. In an instant, there was a crackling sound. "If you have something to say, then say it. If you don't have anything to say, then get lost." "Don't have anything to say, but, Uncle Chang, let's say first, can you stop kicking my butt later?" Chang Yaojin frowned and was about to get up. Wei Shuyu hurriedly said, "Just now, a spy entered the palace and reported to the emperor that Chumo and Zhangsun took brother Zhangfeng to Yenlai Lu. I know about this. What else? If you have anything to say, then say it. It's like this. Well, brother Zhangfeng took down Miss Jingshu, and this matter has already spread, so..." "What? Brother Zhangfeng really took down Jingshu? Damn!" Chang Yaojin did not think much of it before. The emperor did not say anything when he accompanied Zhangfeng to Yenlai Lu. What could he say? And this was a good thing. If he did not give him a break, this kid would hold it in all day. But how did he take down Jingshu? So fast? And the matter had spread? At this moment, Chang Yaojin finally understood why the emperor would send someone here at this time. The emperor wanted him to clean up after the mess. At the thought of this, Chang Yaojin hastily waved his hand. "Men, bring me my clothes." While they were talking, Chang Yaojin stood up and said, "You said that there is still Zhangsun Chong. Did anyone go to Zhangsun Mansion? And what's going on with Dugo? Wasn't he looking after the store? Was he the one who reported this?" "I don't know, but I heard from the grapevine that Zhangfeng gave Dugo some kind of mathematics syllabus. I reckon that it was because of this that the emperor..." "All right, hurry up and inform those 2 old bastards. Let's see how they're going to save their son." While speaking, Chang Yaojin kicked Wei Shuyu's butt. Wei Shuyu was in so much pain that she ran away with a limp. As soon as Wei Shuyu left, Chang Yaojin shouted, "Old Ning! Master!" Instantly, the man who was carrying a heavy bow outside the door appeared in the living room. Chang Yaojin rubbed his chin and said, "It's not convenient for me to show my face in this matter. You immediately lead a few experts. You personally lead the team and surround Yen Lai restaurant for me. Other than those who come out, even a fly is blocked outside." "Yes." At the same time, Zhang Sun Wuji and Du Ruhui also received this news. They could not help but be somewhat dumbfounded. This Zhang Feng brother was awesome. His first move was a fatal blow. He had not even done anything yet. How many hours had it been? And he had already taken down Jingshu? But they were also very clear about the stubborn disciples of Chang and City. At this time, if they were to know about this, they would go crazy. If a large group of crazy people were to surround Yan Lai restaurant, it was impossible for Zhang Feng to be killed. After all, there was Cheng Chumo and Zhang Sun. But they were worried about the two's identity being exposed. And the identity of Zhang Feng's brother. How sensitive was this time? At this time, if they were to be noticed by the Guanlong group, then the consequences would be big trouble. Go! Immediately get the servants in the residence to inform them. Chang Yaojin's men should be arriving at Yan Lai restaurant soon. Our men can prepare everything. We only need to wait until tomorrow morning to warn those stubborn people. If anyone dares to cause trouble, I, Zhang Sun Wuji, will invite him to the Ministry of Justice's prison for tea. Zhang Sun Wuji's residence. After Zhang Sun Wuji finished giving his orders, how could he still be in the mood to sleep? The author's chin moved around in the living room. Then he gritted his teeth and said, "Men, prepare a sedan. We will go to Cheng residence immediately." "Old master, it's almost 5 o'clock now." Zhang Sun Wuji frowned. That person hurriedly accepted the order and left. What did it mean for the emperor to let the Jinwu guards pass this matter to him in the middle of the night? It was enough to show that the emperor wanted them to clean up his mess. When Zhang Sun Wuji hurriedly left the residence, there was also a sedan at the entrance of the Du residence. Under the escort of a group of guards, it hurried towards Chang Yaojin's residence in the night. Although the outside was bustling with noise, Zhang Feng was sleeping very soundly in Yan Lai restaurant. He was even muttering a name in his sleep. On the other hand, Jingshu couldn't sleep in the attic. She could already hear the rustling sounds outside the window, as well as the faint sounds of weapons clashing. She knew that as long as the sun rose, she would be able to get married. But the premise was, could Prince Zhang really stop those crazy scholars? Chapter 3:14. Early morning. The sky was not yet bright, but Zhang Feng was already woken up by someone. "Brother? Brother Zhang Feng, wake up. Fengzi, wake up soon. What's the matter? What time is it? Let me sleep again." Sleep. Zhang Feng turned over and fell into a deep sleep once again. But Du Go was anxious. Early in the morning, he was awoken by the need to pee. He hurriedly went out and met a group of guards who were squatting outside the door. Although they were wearing ordinary guards' attire, he knew them. Moreover, they were not unfamiliar with the guards of the Cheng residence. There was no need to think. Du Go only needed to think to know that this matter had already been spread to the palace. Otherwise, why would the guards of the Cheng residence be here to guard the door for them? Hence, Du Go was anxious. He shook the pimp in charge awake and asked for the room of Zhang Sun and Cheng Chumo. He kicked each of them and added the words, "Your father is here." Instantly, the two huge fists stopped right in front of his face. Previously, the two of them did not believe it. Following the dawn of the day, they quietly leaned against the window to take a look. Cheng Chumo's hair stood on end. These people were his father's old soldiers. They had never been careless in beating him up. If they were to be caught by these few masters in the morning, even if they did not die, they would at least lose a layer of skin. "What should we do? Worm, we can't run away now. My Uncle Ning is a divine archer. Nothing can escape his eyes and ears. By the way, Bing, what happened at the end last night? I remember that Brother Zhang Feng was reciting poems with that Jing Shu. Finally, right, when did you come?" Du Go's face twisted when he heard this. "Tai Nyo, do you know that the two of you are in trouble? Last night, the two of you went to have fun. Do you know that Brother Zhang Feng took down Miss Jing Shu?" "Huh? Took her down? Damn. So awesome? He really took her down?" Cheng Chumo and Zhang Sun Chong ignored Hu Ji, who was trembling with fear on the side, and asked, "Awesome! He really is my brother. Ha ha ha. Awesome." Du Go was so angry that his nose became crooked. "Do you know what trouble you've caused? Who didn't you provoke? Why did you have to let Brother Zhang Feng poke the hornet's nest? I reckon that when the sun rises, we won't be able to leave even if we want to. You guys are in trouble this time. Even His Majesty knows about this. What? Emperor? Cheng Chumo and Zhang Sunchong were stunned. Wait, that's not right, big flat cake. You heard it yesterday too. What they said was for us to play with Brother Zhang Feng, right? But you also know which part of Chang'an City is the easiest to fool around with. It had to be this Swallow Descent Tower. Besides, you also knew about this, but you didn't say anything at that time. Since we're gonna play, Brother Zhang Feng definitely can't play with those vulgar women, right? If Brother Zhang Feng is taken by us to play with vulgar women, then there's no need for others to say anything. Wouldn't all of us lose face? So, the two of us came up with a plan and brought him here. What's wrong with that? Du Go was about to faint. Wrong. You motherf asterisk curs. Why can't you bring Brother Zhang Feng to play? Why did you have to bring him here to poke the hornet's nest? Jingshu is good, but you should know that Brother Zhang Feng will get into trouble. Who dares? The two fools were furious. Looking at Zhang Feng, who was sleeping soundly on the bed, they scratched the back of their heads. Regarding this matter, Iron Bull can just stand there. Who dares to say anything? Are they tired of living? If there's no other way, we'll call Chengqian out. No, let Shuyu bring the Imperial Guards. Lao Tzu wanted to see if the Crown Prince and the Imperial Guards could shut them up. You're wrong. Du Go interrupted the fuming Cheng Chumo and said, I think that since your family is here, it means that this matter is serious. I think that His Majesty arranged all of this. So, the three of us can only wait to be punished. Hearing this, Cheng Chumo shrunk his neck and realized the severity of this matter. What should we do? Worm de Bing, this matter was decided by the three of us. You have to think of a way. Cheng Chumo knew how powerful his Uncle Ning was. It was definitely Lao Tzu's idea to get him to come out. It would be strange if he didn't lose a layer of skin when he returned. Zhang Sun was also anxious. At this time, Cheng Chumo's father knew, but what about his father? They could turn a blind eye to his frivolous behavior, but would he be able to get through today? Even His Majesty knew. Then who was it? That was his uncle's husband. When the time came, he would be beaten no less than these two idiots. Perhaps he would be beaten by his own aunt, Empress Zhang Sun, if he was beaten by his own aunt. Zhang Sun couldn't help but want to cry. Brother de Bing, among us, you're the only one who's in a hurry. Think of a way. What should we do now? It's going to be dawn soon. If we're caught, none of us will have an easy time. We'll definitely be punished for losing the face of the imperial family. Hearing this, Du Go's expression turned ugly. If he knew this would happen, why didn't he guard the shop and come here to join in the fun? *CK this. Du Go wanted to slap himself a few times. He pointed angrily at the two of them and shouted, My reputation has been ruined by the two of you. Chapter 3:15. Reputation? Cheng Chumo and Zhang Sun rolled their eyes. You're the most wretched one here, all right? You still have the nerve to talk about reputation? If there's something, why didn't you do it earlier? But now you're talking about it? Aren't you just giving advice after the fact? Enough! All of you shut up. From what I see, if we can escape before they discover us, there's still some leeway. If Uncle Ning and the rest wanted to catch us, they would have caught us a long time ago. But they didn't. What's the meaning of this? Hearing this, Du Go clasped his hands behind his back. Like a little old man, he rubbed the sparse tuft of black hair on his chin and said, Since they didn't come in after finding out about this matter last night, then it must be for others to see. For who? Cheng Chumo scratched his head and said doubtfully, For us to see. You're a pig. If not for you, then for whom? I suspect that on one hand, they're here to protect our safety and prevent those red-eyed stubborn people from rushing in. On the other hand, they want us to think of a way to escape after seeing them. If we can't escape, then someone will come in and stuff us into gunny sacks and secretly transport us out. Speaking up to this point, Du Go continued, If we end up in a gunny sack, I suspect that the place we end up at won't be Zhang Feng's little tavern. Brother Zhang Feng will definitely be sent back. But for us, I'm guessing we'll end up in prison. Have you thought about it? If we're stopped here, then those officials will definitely impeach us in the morning court. Chang Chumo and Zhang Sun heard this and their expressions changed. Damn, Bing, we're good brothers. Think of a way. If I'm caught by my father, then I'll definitely be skinned alive. Zhang Sun said with a sobbing tone. Damn it, if he had known earlier, he wouldn't have brought Zhang Feng and his brother here. He originally wanted to show off in front of this group of stubborn people how his good brother had plucked the flower in their hearts. Great now. His stubborn identity was about to be exposed. If this was exposed, they would have to face the impeachment of all the officials in Chang'an City. After all, these puppies were all brought up by them. If his aunt, who was the empress, found out, the consequences would be incomparably miserable. Young masters, don't panic. I know a path that will allow you all to leave safely. Just when everyone was anxious, Jing Shu gently pushed open the door. It was as if she had heard everything that had just happened. No one had time to say anything. Chang Chumo looked at Zhang Feng, who was sleeping with his mouth wide open. In his heart, he wished he could go up and kick him awake. But he didn't dare. After all, he still wanted to learn from Zhang Feng. More importantly, Jing Shu was here, so he couldn't be rude. Feng Zi, wake up. Feng Zi, your wife. Your wife is here to see you. Feng Zi, get the F*CK up, Lao Tzu. You're going to be beheaded. Just as Jing Shu was frowning uneasily and was about to come up to take a look at Zhang Feng, whose face was red from the slap, Zhang Feng stretched lazily and finally woke up. When he saw the room full of people, he couldn't help but be shocked. He looked at everyone with a confused expression and asked, I say, brothers, and that, Miss Jing Shu, you all didn't sleep the whole night? Sleep what? Do you think everyone is as lucky as you? Chang Chumo was speechless as he pulled Zhang Feng and ran away. Go, go, go. Something happened. Let's run away before it happens. Zhang Feng was dumbfounded. I just took a nap and didn't do anything, and now I'm being checked on? Tiniu, what's wrong with you? Can you at least tell me what's going on? Zhang Feng looked at Chang Tiniu, puzzled. Ow, brother, you had a good sleep last night, but did you know that you stirred up a hornet's nest last night? Pooey, you're in big trouble. Yes, you're in big trouble. Chang Chumo was about to say that he stirred up a hornet's nest, but when he saw Jing Shu's cold gaze, he couldn't help but change his words. Zhang Feng was even more confused. He looked at Du Go and asked, Bing, why don't you say it? Although you're very long-winded, I want to hear you talk now. This King Chen Tiniu wasn't long-winded, but he couldn't even speak clearly. He was always in a hurry. What could he do? When Du Go heard this, he sighed and cupped his fists at Jing Shu. He told Zhang Feng everything that had happened, but he neglected the main point, which was the chain reaction caused by their identities and the fact that the emperor knew about it. Zhang Feng sniffed. He looked at Jing Shu, whose expression was slightly unnatural, and asked in a trembling voice, Is what they said true? It's all true, but it's too late now. If it's another 15 minutes, I can guarantee that those officials and nobles who covet Jing Shu will rush up before those stubborn people arrive. Hearing this, Zhang Feng's vision turned black, and he almost fainted. Chun Tiniu, Lao Tzu has no enmity with you. Why do you have to trick me like this? Chapter 316. Zhang Feng wanted to cry. As long as King explain it clearly to me. Now he had to do it. CKU. Zhang Feng's heart was filled with grief. But from Jing Shu's point of view, it was a different expression. Young master, do you think that I am not worthy of you? Do you also think that I came from a brothel? No. No. This is a little too fast. My head is still dizzy. Miss, please don't misunderstand. After I have calmed down, I will personally visit you to explain today's matter. It was not that Zhang Feng did not like Jing Shu. She was a flower of Chang'an City. F*CK. Even if he married her as a concubine, how awesome would that be? Just thinking about it made him excited. But it was still too early. At the very least, He had to wait until he was an official and had a life-saving ability. Or perhaps some damned system would activate a life-saving ability. At that time, not to mention one, even if you gave him 100, he would still dare to marry her. Moreover, they had just met and they had already decided? Zhang Feng was a little confused. But now was not the time to ask about these things. Zhang Feng took the opportunity to look at the people surrounding Yen Lai Lu from the window. He could not help but feel a little flustered. Go, 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 let's go now. If we are King caught, none of us will survive today. How about this, Miss Jing Shu? Is there anything of the sort here? If there is, please lead the way. When the time comes, Zhang Feng, I will definitely give you an explanation. Escaping was more important now. Moreover, from what Zhang Feng knew from the movies and dramas of the future, brothels were places with the most secret passages. But he was disappointed. Under the gaze of Chang Chumo and the rest, he saw Jing Shu shaking her head speechlessly. I have prepared a ladder for you in the backyard. If possible, you can follow the jujube tree in the backyard and reach the dye shop next door. I don't know what will happen after that. Good, good, good. Thank you, Miss Jing Shu. Zhang Feng cupped his fists and urged Chang Chumo and the other two to go downstairs. He was anxious. If he was caught by Chang Chumo, Zhang Sun and Wei Shuyu, then this day next year would be Zhang Feng's death anniversary. How could he not be anxious? Seeing this, Chang Chumo and Zhang Sun immediately scampered off. After Dugo left, he returned and respectfully bowed like a Confucian scholar and said, Many thanks to miss this time. Many thanks for this time. But I have a question. Please ask, young Master Du. I've long heard that young Master Du is well read. It's my honor to meet you today. Jing Shu is truly fortunate. Dugo did not beat around the bush and asked, Last night, Brother Zhang Feng and you, are you sure nothing happened? Prince Zhang is an upright person and did not do anything to Jing Shu. However, although I have not been officially married to Prince Zhang, I have already kept my promise. I am Prince Zhang's wife. Young Master Du is Prince Zhang's friend and brother. Why are you suddenly asking about this matter? Du Go's face stiffened. He waved his hand and said, I don't have any other intentions. I just want to know the real answer. When the time comes, I will report it to my father and think of a way to resolve today's matter. I've disturbed you today. Let's meet again another day. As he spoke, Dugo hurriedly left. But just as he was about to leave, he paused and asked, We can escape, but Miss Jing Shu, you? Jing Shu was slightly displeased, but she still said patiently, Young master need not worry about this matter. Jing Shu can remain unharmed in such a filthy place. Naturally, she has her own means to protect her life. Young Master Du, please leave quickly. Don't drag Prince Zhang down with you. Dugo left, with a belly full of questions. What he really wanted to ask was, how did Zhang Feng match Jing Shu's song? This was something he had thought about for a long time, but he could not get it. It was impossible for him, Dugo, to not have any improper thoughts about Jing Shu. Miss Jing Shu was now Zhang Feng's brother, and the woman of his future teacher. He did not dare to have any improper thoughts. However, he was a fool. He was obsessed with all kinds of things related to blood science, especially after he obtained the mathematical formula last night. He was even more obsessed with Zhang Feng's words and actions. Not to mention the fact that it troubled the whole of Chang and even the famous young talents of the Tang dynasty, who did not want to find the solution to this song as soon as possible and win the heart of the beauty. But now, after Dugo jumped over the wall and looked at Zhang Feng's back, he could not help but make up his mind. No, I must get the solution to this song. This was something that everyone was obsessed with, but would Zhang Feng give it to him? Obviously, it was impossible. This was all a story for later. The instant Zhang Feng and the others had just jumped into the dyeing workshop, carriages and palanquins arrived in front of Swallow Descent Restaurant, bearing the blazing clouds of the east. And at this moment, Old Ning and the rest slightly tightened their grip on the hilts of their swords. Halt! Intruder! Chapter 317. Following Old Ning's roar, the people who had rushed over stopped at the foot of Yen Lai Restaurant. They had no choice but to stop. because they knew the person guarding the door. He was Chang Yaojin's trusted general. How could they not stop? At this moment, an official from the Imperial College slowly walked out of the sedan chair. He looked around and cupped his fists. "General, why are you guarding here?" But who was old Ning? He did not even look at him. He continued to look at the crowd with cold eyes. As more and more people came, all kinds of rumors spread among the crowd. F***ck. Look at these people. They are the Cheng family's guards. What are they doing? Could it be that Cheng Yaojin is spending the night here? But there is no need to make such a big scene, right? You don't know about this, right? I heard from the grapevine that last night, Demon King Chun brought his underlings to harm Miss Wanru. What? How is this possible? They really don't want to live anymore. F***ck. The Demon King is on an expedition. When have you ever seen him try to reason with you in a serious manner? Didn't he use force every time? Could it be that these people are here to capture Demon King Chin? I'm not sure about that. As the crowd's discussion and the number of people slowly increased, the scholars from Chang'an City who claimed to be scholars also came angrily. But when they saw the situation, they were terrified. But they still did not want to leave. They hid in the crowd and shot back. From what I see, this great Demon King Chun is no great Demon King Chin. He is clearly the great Demon King Chang Yaojin. Yes. Didn't you hear it a few days ago? Chang Yaojin lied that he was catching rebels outside the city, but he is actually taking the opportunity to eliminate dissidents. His motive is terrible. Tell me, who is Miss Wanru? She is someone that even the Emperor and the Crown Prince respect. Even the Emperor does not dare to use force. I heard that the Crown Prince was rejected when he came to see her. I think this Chang Yaojin must have used force. Sigh. Oh, my poor little girl. In the crowd, as these voices continued to increase, it instantly made everyone have an impulse to rush into Swallow Descent Tower and see what had happened to Miss Wanwan. General Ning. Could it be that it was really as they said, that General Chang was having fun inside? If it's like that, then so long as you say the word, I'll leave right away and never come looking for Miss Bai and again. But if the rumors are true and you're here to capture Demon King Chun, why haven't you made your move yet? Yeah. The Chung residence is obviously shielding him. What cover up? The Demon King is clearly Chang Yaojin himself. Let us in if you dare. Old Ning looked at the crowd indifferently. Seeing that the crowd was on the verge of stepping forward, Zhang Xin calmly waved his hand. In an instant, all the guards of the Chang mansion drew their mo swords from their waists. If anyone dares to take another step forward, this general will kill without mercy. Everyone was shocked. These ambiguous words made everyone even more excited to the point that their eyes turned red. Those scholars relied on the fact that they were Confucian scholars and crazily squeezed forward. Ta-ta-ta. And at this moment, the sound of hurried horse hooves could be heard. Everyone was shocked to see a troop of Ministry of Justice soldiers hurrying over. Everyone was terrified. Cheng Mansion. Jiangxuan's Ministry of Justice had sent people over. What had happened to Swallow Descent Tower? Could it be that something had really happened? Under everyone's shocked gazes, one of the generals of Jiangxuan's mansion whispered something into Old Ning's ear. Old Ning looked at that person in astonishment. That person nodded his head firmly. Under everyone's baffled gazes, Old Ning waved his hand. Retreat. He didn't say anything. He didn't explain anything. He hurriedly left under everyone's bewilderment. What's going on? Is he having a stroke? He blocked Swallow Descent Tower's door and then left inexplicably? There's something fishy. Go, go, go. Let's go in and see how Miss Bai En is doing. Let's go. Why would anyone care about such an inexplicable action? It was better to see what had happened to Miss Wanru first. After all the officials, merchants, and young talents had rushed into Swallow Descent Tower's main hall, the procuress could be considered a tactful person. She placed her hands on her waist and blocked the staircase leading to Wanru's loft. What are you doing? What are you doing? You want to rebel? This is Swallow Descent Tower, the place of the imperial family. If you want to do anything, think twice. The procuress's words instantly extinguished the flames in everyone's hearts. Madam, did we find out last night that someone had humiliated Miss Wanru's virginity? Let's see who is so daring to do such a thing in front of the emperor. The procuress's eyes revealed a trace of undisguised disdain. Looking at everyone, she pointed at them and said, "Just you? You think you're worthy? You think you've drunk a few drops of ink? Do you really think you're a dish? Wanru's rules, the rules of our store, are recognized by the imperial family. Do you want to see Wanru? Sure. Follow the rules first. Don't King think that because you're rich and you're officials. I can't do anything to you. Remember, I'm working for His Majesty." The procuress's words instantly caused everyone's faces to turn red. However, everyone stubbornly refused to leave. It was as if they wouldn't leave if Wanru didn't appear. This made the procuress somewhat at a loss as to what to do. Chase them away? I don't dare. Don't chase them away, it's annoying. And at this moment, Wanru gently pushed open the screen on the third floor's loft. Her indifferent voice instantly shattered everyone's hearts. "Thank you for your company and love all these years. This little girl thanks everyone here. Just last night Wanru's vow came true. A young master, an unmarried young master, broke Wanru's zither music. Therefore Wanru will marry him in a few days. I'll have to trouble everyone to not disgrace this concubine's reputation." Chapter 318. When Feng Luo's voice died down, everyone could hear the shattering sound in their hearts. Everyone was stunned. They could only imagine that they would have a lucky encounter in their dreams one day to solve Miss Feng Luo's song. But why was it last night? Why was it last night? Who saw it? Who could prove it? Everyone wanted to find that bastard, but they did not dare to make a scene here. This was a place set up by the imperial family. If they dared to make a scene here, they would have to think twice. After all, the Ministry of Justice and the Cheng Mansion had already met them. That meant that the higher-ups already knew about this. But it was also because of this that everyone felt even worse. Who the hell is it? Oh, let's go. Let's go to the Cheng Mansion. Today, this old man must find out who it is that has such talent to be able to comprehend this unique zither song. Let's go. Everyone, let's go. Damn it, if the Cheng Mansion does not give us an answer, old man will definitely join Cheng Yaojin in the morning court tomorrow. The farce here finally came to an end. However, this matter became more and more ferocious. They were happy to see how famous Miss Feng Luo had become. She could make all the men go crazy with just one song. As for the officials in Chong, and who knew anything about this matter, they all retracted their necks. What was the matter? If Cheng Yaojin dared to make a scene like this, he would have been imprisoned by the emperor. But he dared. After that, the people from the Ministry of Justice came and left without saying anything. This already explained a lot. If they still didn't understand this, they were either blinded by lard or brainless. A person who thinks about beauties all day long, if he dies, he will die in vain. At this moment, Chang Chumo and the other three returned to the tavern, trembling with fear. The four of them bid farewell to old He, who had fixed the door and looked after the tavern. Then, they looked at each other in confusion. "I say, brothers, do you have something to tell us?" Zhang Feng gritted his teeth and asked. "Well, Feng Zi, about this matter, I'll go back first today." Chang Chumo averted his gaze and was about to slip away, but Zhang Feng's cold words made him immediately sit back down. "Sure, you can go now. I won't even let you stay. But once you walk out of here today, you will no longer be Zhang Feng's brother." "About that, brother, I just want you to get to know those stubborn bastards. And this beautiful girl is the inviolable thing in the hearts of all stubborn men. I thought you knew about this beautiful girl. So, I wanted to let you see the most beautiful woman in Chang'an City. But you're so awesome. The moment you saw her, you brought back the most perfect woman in everyone's eyes." "Shut up." Zhang Feng rubbed his temples and his face turned gloomy. This matter had caused a disaster, but it was too late to think about it now. "Bug, you think of me, Zhang Feng, as your brother?" Zhang Feng asked while pulling his hair. "Yes. That. Well then you tell me honestly, what is the deal with this girl before this agreement? Are you just a song? What's the big deal? Isn't it just a Hu Jia 18 beats? Isn't it just Zhang Sun? And the other three were speechless. Finally, Dugo sighed and said, Brother Zhang Feng, you might have really misunderstood Tang Yo. Although he's simple and honest, he's not a bad person. Which man in Chong and City doesn't know the name of Miss Wanwan? We did something wrong in this matter before, but we didn't know that you didn't know about it. That's why this happened. But don't worry, we're here. Even if it doesn't work, we still have our father. Don't worry. We'll settle this matter for you. I'm not talking about this. Zhang Feng smiled bitterly. I just want to know why you didn't tell me when you knew about the rule. I know you guys are awesome, but do you know that the real awesome stubborn people in Chang'an City are not you guys? Those are the real 4 great demon kings. You guys know Cheng Chumo, right? There's also Zhang Sun, Wei Shuyu, and that stupid Yuqi, not to mention Dugo, who's feared by everyone. Now you guys know why I'm so worried, right? You guys are gonna poke a hole in the sky. Zhang Feng's concern made the 3 people present somewhat dumbfounded. So this was what Brother Zhang Feng was worried about after all this time? Brother, if you're worried about this, then I'm going to laugh at you. Dugo patted Zhang Feng's shoulder with a strange look in his eyes. Brother, you probably don't know why Tang Yo and the others are called the 4 great demon kings. I can only tell you that Zhang Sun, Cheng Chumo, and Wei Shuyu have to call them little brothers in front of them. Of course. Dugo confidently opened his fan and confidently said, They all have to listen to me. Even though I don't know the past and present, at the very least, I can ensure that they are safe and sound every time. Zhang Sun and Cheng Chumo looked at Dugo and could not help but twitch their mouths. We didn't treat you as a dish, but you really think that a roasted sweet potato is good enough. Chapter 319. Alright. It's best if you can settle this matter. Bing. If you can't, you know the consequences. Zhang Feng was annoyed to death. How could he still be in the mood to waste time on this matter? There was still a muddled account that he had yet to clear up after he had one more wife. Now there was another one. Moreover, it was the goddess in the hearts of all the stubborn people in Chang'an City. *CK. How could Lao Tzu survive this? Zhang Feng had always regarded the matter of femme fatale as an imperial edict. He did not expect that he would be able to avoid the first one. At least her reputation was good. He had not met her before and was not familiar with her. He did not want her. But what about this? He had already met her and even entered her room. Basically, Zhang Feng could guarantee that this matter was spreading everywhere in Chang'an City. Just thinking about it gave him a headache. Alright, Feng Zi, I'm starving. Hurry up and get something good to fill your stomach. Don't worry about this matter. Brother, I will definitely settle this matter properly for you. Okay? Cheng Chumo rubbed his belly and shouted. It would have been better if he did not say that. Once he said that, Zhang Feng also felt unbearable hunger in his stomach. What do you want to eat? Prepare something good. It's best if it's tiger penis. Alright, do you still have the tiger kidney? If you have it, hurry up. I'm tired from last night. Zhang Feng rolled his eyes. Looking at the 3 people who were crying piteously for food, he went into the kitchen speechlessly. Actually, he wanted to find a chance to avoid this guy and think about how to settle this matter. After all, if this matter continued, he would have to deal with it. He did not want to wait for the system to be activated and go to the imperial court before falling into a romantic calamity. He absent-mindedly fiddled with a large pot of stew, but before he could carry it out, the idiot couldn't wait any longer. He went into the kitchen and each of them had a large pot of stew. Then, he took a lamb's hind leg from the pot of stew and happily went out the door. They did not sit. They squatted at the entrance of the shop, each holding a head of garlic. They ate while looking outside the shop, as if they were trying to find out what was going on. However, there were very few people in Tonghui Square, and the news was also very limited. Until one person appeared, the eyes of the masters could not help but light up. The person who came was the old Shotsai who had come to demand an explanation. The old elementary scholar had no children. Although he was well-read, for some reason, he had a very high self-esteem. Even when his family's fortunes fell, he was still unwilling to let go of his pride. Apart from the appearance of Zhang Feng, although Zhang Feng did not mention his background, where was Chang'an? That's a place filled with talented people. Although Zhang Feng had only mentioned a vague place name, everyone found a family that matched Zhang Feng's identity. That was why Zhang Feng's family was washed away by the flood, leaving behind only a single seedling. But this was not the main point. The main point was Zhang Feng's strange character, as well as his personality that did not fit in with this world. He was simple, lazy, and had the skills that everyone dreamed of. Therefore, although the old elementary scholar did not say anything, everyone could see that the old elementary scholar really wanted what was good for Zhang Feng. At this time, it was also the same. Last night, Zhang Feng did not return home, and the old elementary scholar did not sleep at all. As soon as the market opened, he went out to ask around. It was fine if he did not ask around, but once he did, he would be in big trouble. He actually knew about the incident at Yen Lai restaurant last night. Who was the old elementary scholar? With just a little thought, he understood everything in an instant. These little bastards had really poked a hole in the sky. That was why the old elementary scholar came aggressively, prepared to reprimand Zhang Feng, and then kidnap these three great demons to turn themselves in. He even felt like he was going to sacrifice his life for a righteous cause today. When he saw the four of them squatting down and eating stewed vegetables as if nothing had happened, the old elementary scholar was furious. You bunch of trash. Come in for old man. Who were Chang Chumo and the others? They were the sons of the Duke. But they also knew the ways of the world, and knew about the relationship between Zhang Feng and this old man. Therefore, they could only smile awkwardly and follow the old elementary scholar into the small restaurant. Feng Zi, let me ask you, what do you plan to do about the incident at Yen Lai restaurant last night? The moment they entered, the old elementary scholar asked with a serious expression. This? Zhang Feng scratched his head, not knowing what to say. He could not help but use his elbow to poke Dugo. Dugo put down his bowl and chopsticks, wiped his mouth and said, Old elementary scholar, you don't have to worry about this matter. Our father also knows about it, so I think that since this matter has not been made public, it means that this matter has been suppressed. You don't have to worry about it. Are you still worried about Feng Zi? Then what? Old elementary scholar, you just have to worry about it. If even our father can't handle this matter, I believe that no one will be able to suppress it. At this point, Zhang Sun smiled confidently. You also saw that this matter has not been made public, so what does that mean? Wasn't that just being suppressed? Moreover, Feng Zi used his own ability to break Miss Wan Wan's zither music, and won the beauty's heart. If anyone dares to cause trouble, as long as brother Zhang Feng shows a little bit of talent, everyone will shut up. At this point, Zhang Sun said with a straight face, Old elementary scholar, are you doubting Feng Zi's talent? Chapter 320. After being tricked by Zhang Sun, the old elementary scholar was indeed fooled. Thinking about it carefully, it was indeed so. But how could the old elementary scholar be at ease? Sighing, he pointed at Zhang Feng's forehead and said, Oh you, this is all your fault. When you're free, hurry up and prepare a better gift. I'll send it to the Zhang mansion later. Don't you know that gossip is a fearful thing? As he spoke, the old elementary scholar looked around the tavern. Carrying 2 jars of wine, he hurriedly left. All right, you guys hurry up and deal with this mess. I'll send 2 jars of wine to your father-in-law and clear up the misunderstanding while I'm at it. Under Zhang Feng's stunned gaze, the old elementary scholar actually pulled a few hemp ropes from the wall and tied the 2 jars of wine together. Then he hung it around his neck. Pulling an oiled paper bag from the counter of the tavern, he poured the plate of braised meat that Zhang Feng had not eaten into the oiled paper bag and hurriedly left. Feng Zi, I suspect that the old elementary scholar is stuffing his own pockets, Dugo said as he slurped the noodles. Zhang Feng curled his lips. He did not take it to heart. Based on his understanding of the old elementary scholar, if he wanted to eat, he could eat in the tavern. Even if he ate until he vomited, he would not say anything. But when he thought of the Zhang mansion, Zhang Feng's head began to hurt again. Brothers, aren't you all capable? I'll give you a chance. If anyone manages to complete this task, I'll teach them everything I've learned as soon as possible. What? Really? Really? Hearing this, the eyes of the three men instantly turned red. They had long been envious of Zhang Feng's ability. Now, seeing Zhang Feng saying this with such a serious expression, how could they not be interested? Zhang Feng nodded when he saw Fan Rui's expression. I won't ask you to do anything sneaky, nor will I ask you to do anything that violates the bottom line of morality. You just need to help me deal with the Isan pastry shop and the stubborn matter in Chang'an City. Then, I Zhang Feng will do what I say. I'll teach you everything I said before. How about it? Okay. Fengzi, every word is a nail. I'll take it. Zhang Feng felt that he had been misunderstood. He quickly added, I'm afraid you guys didn't understand what I meant. What I meant was that you guys help me deal with this mess. Don't bother your family. I need you guys to do it personally and settle this matter for me. I estimate that it won't be long before a secret plan of mine begins to be carried out. At that time, I'll still need you. How could they understand what Zhang Fengzi? At this moment, they were dizzy. Were those stubborn people powerful? They only needed to beckon with their fingers. And would they dare to act rashly? They must have been beaten up too little. Besides, wasn't the Zhang family just a Zhang family? Since she was his brother's wife, he naturally had to treat her seriously. When the time came, he only needed to pick out some decent betrothal gifts from the mansion and settle this marriage with dignity. Then, wouldn't the Zhang clan's clan head be grinning from ear to ear? However, they really didn't understand Zhang Feng's meaning. Zhang Feng wanted them to cancel the marriage. None of this was important. What was important was that now, a person had slapped open the door of the pub with such force that old he, who had worked overtime to fix the door last night, had wasted his efforts. Who is it? Damn it! Who is so bold to break my brother's door? Beat him up, brothers. F***CK. How could this group of rich second generations not be enraged when their spirits were suddenly disrupted by someone else? However, when the crowd cursed, Zhang Feng looked at the dark figure in the sunlight and felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Just when Zhang Feng was trying to identify it, the iron tower-like figure spoke faintly. Zhu Laotsu. I'm here. Although this voice wasn't loud, it was fatal. After hearing this voice, Chang Chumo didn't even think and subconsciously knelt on the ground with a plop. Zhang Sun was even more straightforward and wanted to slip away. Only Du Go, although he seemed a little scared, still maintained a little bit of a scholarly appearance. He stood at the side, trembling with fear, hugging his bow and bowing. Uncle Chen, why are you here? Why am I here? Chang Yaojin glared at the three boys. Only then did he walk out of the sunlight and look at Zhang Feng. Seeing that Zhang Feng wasn't injured, he shouted angrily, You brats! Luckily nothing happened to Zhang Feng. If something happened to him, can you bear the responsibility? Ah! Chun Tiniu! Get out here, Lao Tzu! After scolding the three boys, Chang Yaojin was still angry. He pointed at Chang Chumo, who was kneeling on the ground and trembling, and picked up a wooden stool from the ground and was about to throw it at him. Zhang Feng's eyelids twitched when he saw this. Was this his biological father? How could his biological father be so ruthless? Old Chen, stop. If you hit him with this stool, your son will be gone. Zhang Feng couldn't sit still anymore. He blocked the infuriated Chang Yaojin and said. Seeing this, Chang Yaojin angrily threw the stool in his hand to the ground. Under Zhang Feng's distressed gaze, Chang Yaojin sat on the stool in the next moment. He grabbed a lamb leg on the table and started chewing. Chapter 321. Chang Yaojin didn't say a word. He didn't throw a tantrum at Zhang Feng. This made Zhang Feng a little embarrassed. However, Zhang Feng was also angry. What does this have to do with me? You're throwing a tantrum the moment you arrive. Are you trying to show me? If it weren't for your son, would King be like this? Vulgar. Really vulgar. If Lao Li were here, would he be like this? Zhang Feng looked at Chang Yaojin, who was eating the lamb leg and drinking from someone's wine bowl, and cursed in his heart. But now, Zhang Feng could only curse in his heart. After all, this matter must be settled by old Chun. Otherwise, would he be the first to come? Now, Zhang Sun and the others were in trouble. Although Cheng Yaojin didn't beat them or scold them, this wasn't Cheng Yaojin's style. Moreover, there was no need to think about it. His bodyguards had already been dispatched. What kind of rumors would it spread? Last time, because Cheng Yaojin went out of the city to settle that matter, he caused a lot of trouble. What about now? It was obvious. That was the most terrifying thing. As long as Cheng Yaojin was angry, everyone would be able to fool him with a laugh. But now, a tiger that wasn't angry was the most terrifying. Well, Uncle Chen, please take a seat first. We still have something to do. We have to go back. Zhang Sun couldn't stand it anymore. He hurriedly wanted to slip out of the door, but before he could walk out, Cheng Yaojin pulled him back. Kid, tell me about this matter. Who's the one who started it? I'll only beat the person who started it. Cheng Yaojin glanced at the three of them and said, the three of them wanted to die. Everyone didn't speak. They just stared at Zhang Feng. Zhang Feng couldn't take it anymore. Speaking of which, are you guys done fooling around? You guys were having fun last night, and now you're asking Lao Tzu to clean up after you. What's the matter? Now you want Lao Tzu to clean up after you guys? Zhang Feng rolled his eyes and pretended not to see anything. This time, the three of them were anxious. She wanted to say something, but she didn't dare. As for Zhang Feng, the scammer, he seemed to be doing it on purpose. He didn't say anything either. What should he do? The three of them looked on helplessly as the lamb leg in Cheng Yaojin's hand dwindled. They did not know what to do. Burp! Just when everyone didn't know what to do, Cheng Yaojin let out a loud burp, probably because he was drunk. He wiped his greasy mouth with his sleeve and said, "You bastards, Brother Zhang Feng is such a good person. How dare you bring him to such a brothel? So be it. It's for his own good. Let him have some fun. But look at what kind of stupid thing you've done. Do you know? You've screwed over Lord Cheng Yaojin this time. You, Tainyo, get your ass over here to Lao Tzu." Cheng Yaojin's tone was very calm, as if he was narrating something. Cheng Yaojin, who was screwed over, was not like him. But at this time, the three of them wanted to cry. Why don't you get angry? As long as you were angry, we wouldn't have been so scared. Dad, about this? Well, last night we drank too much, so we wanted Brother Zhang Feng to go and broaden his horizons. After all, he's already 20 years old, and he still doesn't know what that is. You all know this. So, when I saw that you and Uncle Lao Li didn't say anything, I thought that you guys had acquiesced, So, you went and plucked that flower. Cheng Yaojin was a little angry. Do you know, Miss Huawei, your Uncle Li actually wanted to matchmake Zhang Feng early in the morning? But do you know why he gave up in the end? Because Huawei's body is full of thorns. Have you ever seen anyone in Chang, and who dares to touch Huawei's flower lady? You're really AF * king scammer. Cheng Yaojin was finally angry. He picked up the remaining lamb leg bone and was about to throw it at Cheng Chumo. Cheng Chumo looked at the approaching lamb leg bone and shook his teeth, ready to receive it. But at this time, Zhang Feng sighed and said, "Old Chun, forget it. Tainyo and the others didn't do anything wrong last night. It's my fault." Seeing that the main character had spoken, Cheng Yaojin's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. But he pretended to be angry and put down the lamb bone in his hand. He turned around and said bitterly, "Brother, you're an honest person, but I know that you didn't do this. I watched those three bastards grow up. How could I not know what kind of people they are? Although I'm a rough person, I still have the ability to judge people. So, Brother Zhang Feng, don't stop me. I must teach them a lesson today. Let them learn. You don't know. If Lord Zhangsun hadn't sent people from the Ministry of Justice to Yenlai Lu, you should know that Lu Guogong would probably be in jail now. Is this something a human would do? If only they had eaten a mouthful of food while drinking, they wouldn't have done such a disgraceful thing. Brother Zhang Feng, if you're a brother, don't stop me. Let me clean up the family's reputation. This is the family's bad reputation. It's harming you. Don't stop me." Zhang Feng's head was full of black lines. He looked at the big greasy bone in his stomach and glared at Chang Yaojin, rolling his eyes. Lao Tzu didn't even touch you. If you want to hit him, then hit him. Chapter 322. All right, you're not even fit to act. Zhang Feng cursed in his heart. However, he did not expose Chang Yaojin. Old Chen, calm down. Let me tell you about this matter slowly. Zhang Feng's face darkened. Finally, he painstakingly snatched the weapon from Chang Yaojin's hand and pressed him in front of the table. He signaled with his eyes for the three of them to scram. Only then did he say, Old Chun, this matter is actually my fault. Brother, don't take on dog sh*t for yourself. If your brother Zhang Feng was such a pervert, how could we not know? Enough! Zhang Feng patted Chang Yaojin's shoulder and said, Old Chun, actually, there's still a reason for this matter. You also know about the vow that Miss Wanwan made, right? I know. How was Chang Yaojin angry? Seeing that Zhang Feng took the initiative to speak, he quickly sat up straight and even stopped drinking. Zhang Feng pursed his lips. This guy came to be a spy. It was really... If Lao Li wanted to know something, why didn't he come personally? Was it necessary? Wasn't it tiring? Zhang Feng scolded Lao Li in his heart before saying, Actually, when we were drinking, we talked about that Miss Wanwan. You also know that I'm very interested in all kinds of rumors, and after drinking, there's no need to talk about it. With such a magical song, do you think that I, Zhang Feng, would not go and take a look? Not go and find out what's going on? Chang Yaojin scratched the back of his head and nodded. Now that you mention it, I think it's possible. With your obsession with literature, and such a novel matter to others, Old Chen might think that he was lusting after beauty, but he really went there for that Zheng song. Brother, could it be that you really know that song? In the end, even Chang Yaojin was shocked. Who doesn't know of Wanwan's reputation? Even the emperor had searched through the ancient records of the palace for this magical zither song. However, he only knew that it was passed down from the family of a female official in the palace. After that, no one even knew the name of the song. However, thinking of Zhang Feng's miraculous calligraphy, as well as his unfathomable ability, he really did have that kind of ability. Zhang Feng nodded. Under Chang Yaojin's shocked gaze, he said, So, this matter is not like what you know. It's all because I want to explore the magic of that song. That's why I'm drinking to strengthen my courage and compete with it. Speaking of which, Zhang Feng smiled bitterly. You know the result. Although I know Miss Bai An's good name and this divine song, I forgot that she had another vow. It wasn't until I completely solved this song that De Bing finally told me this matter under my interrogation. This also happened this morning. Zhang Feng was very depressed. However, Chang Yaojin was completely dumbfounded. Did he really solve this thing? It was exactly the same as what the emperor had predicted. Brother Zhang Feng, you're awesome. Chang Yaojin speechlessly stuck out his thumb, almost pressing it on Zhang Feng's forehead. Zhang Feng rolled his eyes. What's so awesome about it? I'm so worried now that I don't know what to do. I inadvertently offended those stubborn people in Chang and City. Old Chun, do you think I'll have a good life in the future? Ha ha ha. Hearing this, Chang Yaojin held his stomach and laughed loudly. After laughing for a long time, he asked, Brother, do you know who those stubborn people are? I don't know. Zhang Feng glared at Chang Yaojin gloomily. I say, Old Chin, you're really something. Can't you see that my hair has turned white? This matter will happen sooner or later. No, by now, it should have already reached the ears of Chang Chumo, Wei Shuyu, and Zhang Sunchong, those stubborn bastards. How can you still laugh? Hurry up and think of a solution for me. There's no solution. Chang Yaojin laughed until he was out of breath. But I only know one thing. You can rest assured about this matter. Chang Yaojin smiled and said, But I only know one thing. Lao Li has already settled this matter for you. Isn't it just a bunch of stubborn people? The Minister of Justice, Zhang Sun Wuji, is in the same boat as us. He has already settled this matter for us. When Zhang Feng heard this, he was dumbfounded and asked, Are you sure about this? I Old Chen guarantee it. Hearing this, Zhang Feng heaved a deep sigh of relief. At the same time, he was speechless. So, you've been acting since you came in? You already knew that this matter would be solved, right? Zhang Feng finally knew that this guy had been acting from the beginning. Chang Yaojin saw that he seemed to have been exposed, but he didn't care. He drank his wine and said with a smile, "We're very curious. You said that song. Did you really solve it? Then what exactly was this song? Why didn't any of the scholars and poets of the Tang dynasty know about it? It would be strange if they knew." Zhang Feng shrugged and asked, "Do you know about the Wuxia 18 beats?" Chang Yaojin took a sip of wine. "No." Chapter 323. Zhang Feng was speechless. "Fine, you definitely don't know this, but you should at least ask what it is," Zhang Feng roared. "All right, then brother Zhang Feng, what is this song about?" Chang Yaojin immediately understood. This guy wants a way out. That's easy. But when Zhang Feng heard that, he had the urge to beat Chang Yaojin to death. He took a deep breath and said, "Before I tell you this song, I have a story. Do you want to hear it?" "Yes." At this moment, Zhang Sun and the other three's heads popped out from the door. When Zhang Feng looked over, Dugo's head was slapped. Obviously, he was the one who spoke just now. Zhang Feng and Chang Yaojin did not care, and Zhang Feng seemed to have found an audience. He always felt that if he were to tell this to Old Chun, it would be like playing the lute to a cow. But it was different now. With these three audience members, wouldn't it be more interesting to talk about it? Zhang Feng waved his hand and let the three of them in. He even poured wine for them and said, "Actually, when we talk about the 18 beats of the Wuxia, we have to talk about one person. Kai Wenji, who among you knows?" "Me." As expected, it was Dugo. Speaking of this person, Dugo could not help but look forward to it. Kai Wenji is rumored to be Kai Yong's daughter. She was deeply influenced by literature since she was young. But in the end, because of the war, she was kidnapped by the Xiongnu people. Zhang Feng nodded and said with some admiration, "Dugo is right. But there are records of this person in the historical records. But do you know that Cao Cao used a lot of money to exchange for her?" When Dugo heard that, he started to think deeply. But these profound matters made Cheng Chumo and the other two feel a little bored. So they simply continued to drink and eat. Chang Yaojin, on the other hand, was immersed in it. He had to immerse himself in it. He was going to ask questions on behalf of the emperor. If brother Zhang Feng was missing a single word today, then he would have to suffer a beating. As for the reason, everyone knew, so there was no need to talk about it. At this time, Zhang Feng said, "Actually, Kai Wenji and the virtuous prince of the left were married when they were still in Xiongnu. Don't ask me who the virtuous prince of the left is. I don't know." Zhang Feng had already shut their mouths and continued. After Kai Wenji returned to the Han dynasty, she missed her children. That was why she created the 18 beats of the Wuxia, a song played by Miss Wan Wan. The song has a total of 18 chapters, so it's called the 18 beats of the Wuxia. It was once recorded in the Han Music House, but because of the war, it completely disappeared. I also thought that this song was lost, but I didn't expect to hear the complete version here. Then, brother Zhang Feng, what are the lines in the Zither song? Can you tell us about it? Dugo could not help but ask. This song has tortured us scholars for many years, so... All right, Zhang Feng shrugged and said, "Actually, there's nothing to hide. It's just a way for a prostitute to protect herself. Since I've already deciphered the song today, what's wrong with letting you all see it?" He had deciphered this song, but he believed that many people outside would not be convinced. In that case, he might as well use the mouths of these three to publicize this song. It could also be a way to solve the current predicament. To Bing, quickly copy it for old man. Chang Yaojin waved his hand and said firmly. While Chang Yaojin was speaking, Zhang Feng pondered for a while before slowly saying, "The first beat, which is also the first chapter, goes like this. When I was born, I was still unaccomplished. After I was born, the Han dynasty declined. The heavens are heartless, and the earth is heartless, causing me to meet this time. The path of war is perilous, and the people and soldiers are exiled, and we mourn. Smoke and dust cover the wilderness, and the Wuxia flourish, and the will is obedient, and the righteousness is wrong. Vulgar is not suitable for me, and who should I complain to when I'm insulted? In a while, when I play the zither, no one knows my resentment. The second verse. The third verse. The fourth verse. Zhang Feng spoke faster and faster. After that, he did not stop. The Wuxia originates from the Wuxia, and the fate of the zither brings out the same melody. Although the song ends in the 18th beat, the sound lingers, and endless thoughts. Knowing the subtlety of the Siju, it's the work of creation. Sorrow and music follow the heart, and there are changes. The Wuxia and the Han are different from each other, and the heaven and earth are separated by the west and the mother east. My resentment is vast in the sky, and although the 6 directions are vast, they can't tolerate it. When the last verse was finished, Zhang Feng then sighed in relief. Looking at Cheng Yaojin, he asked with a smile that was not a smile, "Old Chen, I dare to bet that you can treat this song as a family heirloom. It will definitely be famous in the future." That's good. But you also know that this time the mess you made is not small. This thing, I must first deal with the matter of the higher-ups. For these things, I'm a rough person who doesn't understand, so I won't fight with them. Although Cheng Yaojin knew the importance of this thing, after all, he was deeply shocked by Zhang Feng's reading. But such a good thing, he dares to hide it? I'm afraid he doesn't want to live anymore. Such a good thing, he can only wait for the emperor to reward him. Chapter 324. Dugo carefully sorted out this item before neatly copying it into 18 copies. He looked at the 18 pages of paper. He was dumbfounded. Was this the thing that made all the young talents in the Tang dynasty go crazy for? He did not feel the joy of knowing the answer. Instead, he felt a kind of pressure. He did not dare to imagine that if this thing were to spread, it would definitely set off a frenzy of Zhang music in the Tang dynasty. Moreover, it was something that all the scholars would fight for and treat as a treasure. After all, he had heard the song before. However, when he recalled the song in his mind, coupled with the words, the gentle and sorrowful feeling in it, if it was a woman, then, if any man got it, there would definitely be women who would go crazy for it. Oh right, Fengzi. Cheng Yaojin neatly folded these things, including the manuscript, and put them in his arms. Then, he asked, I heard from Lao Li that you're going to set up an academy? Academy? Brother Zhang Feng is going to set up an academy? When did this happen? Cheng Chumo and the other 2 were shocked. Cheng Yaojin glared at them. The 3 of them shrunk their necks and could only obediently sit in the corner without moving. Zhang Feng did not hide it from them. Yes, Lao Li came and told me about this before. That's good. Cheng Yaojin nodded. I heard from Lao Li that he has settled the Imperial College. As for the document, Li Gan will personally bring it to you tomorrow morning. Oh right, as for the teacher, isn't there a ready-made one? Zhang Feng pointed at Du Go. Du Go and the others' heads twitched. What did this mean? I'm going to be a teacher? No, I'm going to study mathematics. However, suddenly, Du Go and Zhang Sun felt like they had been cheated. Brother Zhang Feng was digging a hole for them just now, but after thinking about it, they felt relieved. Zhang Feng was so lazy that he wouldn't have too many students. Other than them, there were only the princes and princesses, and their brothers and sisters. That made them feel relieved. When the time came, they would learn from Zhang Feng first. When the time came, just as Zhang Sun and the other 2 were feeling secretly happy, they could not help but laugh out loud. Cheng Yaojin was so angry that he threw an empty wine jar at them. The 3 instantly shut their mouths out of fear. At this moment, Cheng Yaojin finally asked the most important question, which was also the main purpose of his visit. Brother Zhang Feng, the house is right next to yours. We have bought it. The title deed is here. As he spoke, Cheng Yaojin took out 2 official title deeds and a key. He then said, I believe that in a few days, someone will come and rearrange the house according to your requirements. I went in to take a look. It's a house left behind by a rich family. It's not bad. It's just that the Turk spies dug a big hole in the ground. However, this does not seem to be a bad thing for you. Now only the most crucial step is left. How are you going to teach? This was what Li Shimin wanted to know the most. If he wanted to be different from the Imperial College and see results in the shortest time possible, a normal teaching method would not work. If it was possible, Li Shimin would go against the opinion of the masses and do it. That was why he was worried and asked Chang Yaojin to use this matter to ask. At the same time, he also wanted to know what Zhang Feng was planning. Hearing this, Zhang Feng nodded. The house is just like that. You just need to find the craftsman for me. As for the rest, I will arrange it. But the teaching method, Zhang Feng did not even think about it before, and he did not have time to think about it. Now that Chang Yaojin mentioned it, he remembered this matter. The teaching method, Zhang Feng thought for a moment and came up with a plan. At the beginning, there can't be too many people. The people can only be from your houses. As for the future, we will talk about it later. The numbers have been decided. So, Old Chen, tell me, how many children do you have in total when all your families are added together? I will calculate what teaching method is suitable. In terms of children, we have 4 boys who are of suitable age. Let's not talk about the others for now. Lao Li's house also has 4. If we add them up, we have about 50 to 60 children. 50 to 60 children? This Zhang Feng was stunned. This was just a few families, and there were so many children? Zhang Feng was speechless. People in this era were really good at giving birth. But thinking about it, it was not so strange. This was a student from the first class. Was this how primary school students were taught? Zhang Feng carefully recalled the teaching method of primary school students in his previous life, and then said, "Let me say first, my teaching method is different from anyone's teaching method now. First, I will not let the students memorize things by rote. Second, I will only teach everything once. As for how much they can learn, it depends on the individual. Every day, at the beginning of the class, they will recite ancient poems and famous sentences. At the end of the class, there will be a 2-hour break. In the afternoon, there will be a handicraft class. As for what to do, it will depend on my mood." Brother Zhang Feng, does this include the physics that you mentioned? Is there still mathematics? Dugo asked the question he wanted to ask the most. However, Chang Yaojin's eyes widened as he asked, "What is this? And what the hell is physics?" Chapter 325. Zhang Feng was also dumbfounded. He didn't know how to respond to this. "Hey Dabing, show Old Chen the thing I gave you. Also, explain it to Old Chen." Zhang Feng couldn't be bothered to say anything else. After Du Go's explanation, Chang Yaojin was also dumbfounded, especially when he saw the arithmetic table in Du Go's hand. This thing, he couldn't understand, especially that 1 by 1, something like that. How could he understand it? But even if he couldn't understand it, he still knew a little about arithmetic. I remember that the mainstream now is the 9-chapter arithmetic. Can this thing be compared to the 9-chapter arithmetic? What I mean is, can this thing really surpass the 9-chapter arithmetic? Chang Yaojin really couldn't understand. But this time, Dugo also looked at Zhang Feng. Let's use the abacus as an example. Most of the 9-chapter arithmetic requires the assistance of an abacus. It's very tedious to calculate. But if you use this kind of multiplication and division, Zhang Feng, can't guarantee that everyone can become a mathematical genius. But in the field of accounting and arithmetic, you'll definitely go further than others. Moreover, the 9-9 multiplication and 9-9 division were originally derived from the combination of the ultimate yin and yang of heaven and earth. This simplifies the basics of the 9-chapter arithmetic. According to the records in Zhang Feng's mind, rather than saying it to Chang Yaojin, it was better to say it to the 3 people who were staring at him with their eyes as big as copper coins. When Zhang Feng finished, Zhang Feng gave an example. To put it simply, the 9-chapter arithmetic that I mentioned includes 9-chapter arithmetic, geometry, space, weight, volume, size, and so on. It even includes the physics that I mentioned earlier. If you can't grasp all these things that I mentioned, then what about physics? Forget it, you're not worthy. Zhang Feng looked at Dugo and said thoughtfully. When Zhang Feng said that, Chang Chumo was anxious. Brother, you said before, when are you going to teach us the heavy cavalry stuff? I'm getting impatient from waiting. That's right, Feng Zi. Why didn't you say anything about the light cavalry? Why are all these things learned by Du Dabing and Li Qian? The two of them panicked. After waiting for so long, this was what he got. Chang Yaojin guarded Du Go and didn't give him any time to rest. He recorded everything that Zhang Feng said in the book and then asked, "That's right. I heard from Iron Bull that you—" "Hey, what's the rush? Let me tell you, as long as you are not afraid of death and suffering, I guarantee that in less than a year, I will make each and every one of you wish you were dead." Zhang Feng smirked. Even Chang Yaojin couldn't help but shudder. He quickly asked, "Brother Zhang Feng, how do you want to train them?" "Train?" Zhang Feng looked at Chang Yaojin in confusion and said, "No, no, no. I'm not going to train them. Look at this." As he spoke, Zhang Feng counted with his fingers and said, "I'm going to teach according to the point system. Every day I will grade all the students. Every day it will be 9 points. It will start at noon and end at night. During this period, everything has to be managed in a closed manner. Every meal will be personally prepared by me. In this day, not only do you have to learn all the classifications of mathematics, but you also have to learn the classifications of literature. There are a total of 15 classifications. In the morning, it's time to learn literature. I'm not free. In the afternoon, it's time to learn mathematics. If I finish my homework well in the morning, then even if I don't finish my mathematics in the afternoon, the punishment for my rest time at night will be reduced. However, if I don't learn well in the morning, then I don't learn well in the afternoon, Then I'll wish you good luck." Zhang Feng's plans sounded quite interesting at first, but as he listened, Chang Yaojin felt that something was wrong. There seemed to be a hint of a conspiracy in this. "Brother, are you planning to train them in martial arts at night? And actual combat training? You're smart, old Chin. I suggest you give it a try. It's very cool." "Get lost." Chang Yaojin's head exploded with a buzz. Damn it. This scammer was rotten from the very beginning. He was rotten to the core. Starting at noon and ending at night, he had to do those things for a whole day. Then at night, he had to do physical training. Finally, he understood that what he had asked him to say was not training. Could it be that he had not thought about this at all? After he had reminded him, he had only thought of this and added it at the last minute? Chang Yaojin had the illusion that he had been thrown into the Ministry of Justice's prison. At this moment, this bastard had a look of despair on his face, as if he had nothing left to live for. However, Zhang Feng did not care about this and continued, "Actually, I had forgotten about this at the beginning. But today, since you have such a strong request, I naturally have no problem with it. Isn't it just military training? I'm not going to prank you. Considering your strength, I've only increased the difficulty by 10 times. When the three of them heard this, they rolled their eyes and could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 326. Even Chang Yaojin felt a sense of exhilaration when he heard that. Although he didn't know what kind of training method Zhang Feng was talking about, he could imagine someone who could train a person into the strongest heavy cavalry and light cavalry in the shortest amount of time, as well as an assassin who was proficient in the art of assassination. Was this an easy training method? Looking at the two guys who were lying on the ground pretending to be dead, Chang Yaojin knew that this guy would definitely do something bad. However, he still asked, "Brother Zhang Feng, what exactly is your training method?" Let me think." Zhang Feng did not pay attention to the two who were lying on the ground eavesdropping. He seriously recalled the scenes of Special Forces training that he had seen on TV. After a while, he said, "Well, this training is not complicated. It's just physical fitness, endurance, and endurance. Usually, I won't do anything. After all, this is Chang'an City. We have to keep a low profile and not attract the attention of the authorities. So, it's just running a few laps around the courtyard, then climbing over a few courtyard walls and holding water in the water for a while. It's just that you have to tie a gunny sack on your body. It's that simple." "Really?" Dugo could not stand it anymore. Looking at Zhang Feng's sinister smile, he asked, "Really? I, Zhang Feng, have always been a man of my word. What's wrong, big flat cake? Are you doubting me? No, no, no. How could Du Go dare to doubt him? He only felt a deep sense of fear and excitement. These two feelings were very strange. One was an urgent desire to go. After all, the literature mentioned before and the magical arithmetic were all things that attracted him. However, there was another feeling. That was a sense of fear that came from the depths of his soul. This feeling was very strange. It was as if there was a demon in front of him, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws, waiting for him, but he could not stop himself from wanting to get closer. At this moment, Du Go was feeling that. From Zhang Feng's expression, he knew that this training was definitely not going to be easy. However, he didn't know if this included him. However, the moment this thought was born, Zhang Feng extinguished his dream. Of course, this military training, yes, this was military training, and everyone had to participate. If anyone dares to not participate, then it is equivalent to automatically withdrawing from my academy. No matter who comes to speak or plead for mercy in the future, they are not allowed to take a step into the academy, not even if the emperor pleads for mercy. That's because I learned all my skills from these things. Buzz. Cheng Chumo, Zhang Sun, Chong, and Du Go's minds exploded. At this moment he couldn't care less. Endless disdain. Stop bragging. You can't even take a slap from me, and you still say that this is all you've got. Fengzi, let me ask you. We are here to learn about military capabilities. What's the use of learning about literature? Don't tell me that you want us to argue with the enemy on the battlefield in the future? Cheng Yaojin also felt a headache. Zhang Feng shrugged and asked, Then let me ask you. First, how can you calculate the number of people from the scale of the place in the shortest time possible? How can you calculate whether the enemy is heavily armed, heavy cavalry, or light cavalry from the hoof prints and wool prints? Or how can you determine whether the enemy can prolong the battle from the speed of the enemy's division? The two were dumbfounded. Even the military god, Cheng Yaojin, was stumped by this question. How should they answer this? Who would calculate these? Brother, if we met on the battlefield, who would have the time to calculate this? Would we just wave our arms and be done with it? Wrong. Zhang Feng shook his head and looked at Cheng Yaojin, saying, You don't know military books. If we can figure it out in a short period of time, then we can use the most effective countermeasures to target the enemy and use some military traps. This way, we can self-destruct before the enemy reaches our position. All of this is calculated. Now tell me, is this calculation, mathematics, and some other things useful? Zhang Feng asked with a serious expression. This time, Cheng Yaojin was speechless. What could he say? What kind of tactics were these? Previously, they would just send out the same type of troops as the other side sent out. Or, if the other side sent out cavalry, they would follow the military strategy and send out a rain of arrows. Then, they would form a light cavalry battle formation and a heavy cavalry battle formation. That would be the end of it. What tactics were there? However, to be able to inflict so much damage to the enemy before they even reached their position, Cheng Yaojin felt that it was impossible. However, if it was someone else who said this, Cheng Yaojin would either kick him or drag him to the battlefield for a day trip. But who was this? This was Zhang Feng's words. Cheng Yaojin couldn't help but think of something Zhang Feng said before. He hurriedly lowered his voice and pressed Zhang Feng's shoulder, asking word by word, Brother Zhang Feng, are you talking about the strange scripture that you mentioned before? Chapter 327. At this moment, the atmosphere became a little heavy. It was not for anything else but that extraordinary scripture. Once they learned that Zhang Feng was teaching them the extraordinary scripture, then, how many of Cheng Yaojin and the others would dare to learn it? Even if Zhang Feng dared to teach it, they would not dare to learn it without the emperor's permission. Zhang Feng thought for a moment. Extraordinary scripture, this thing. During this period of time, he had searched for something in his memory. Wasn't this thing a map of the human body's acupuncture points? However, Zhang Feng thought about it carefully. If this thing was so simple, why did these people go crazy when they heard about the extraordinary scripture? Could it be that this thing really had an extraordinary scripture? Could it be the thing that helped Li Chunfeng and Yuan Tiangang to develop the back-push diagram? Yitu Luoshu? Or the mountain and sea scripture? Zhang Feng did not understand. He could not help but cry in his heart. Lao Tzu did not want to lie. He did not expect that he unintentionally pretended to be cool and said something awesome. Damn, it was just a lie. How many more lies would it take to fill the hole? However, although he cried in sorrow, this thing really had a way. Was the modern technology that Lao Tzu mastered not an extraordinary scripture? Yes, can be said that these are extraordinary scriptures. However, you are not qualified to learn the real extraordinary scripture now. Only when you have really mastered the so-called that, you are qualified to learn the extraordinary scripture. That? Qualified. Only then did everyone relax a little. However, everyone's interest was piqued again. Cheng Yaojin was obviously the most qualified among them. Now, he was the one who went to ask about this. He put his arm around Zhang Feng's neck and poured him a bowl of wine. He asked with a smile, "Brother Zhang Feng, tell me, how far away is the extraordinary scripture from now? What I mean is, to what extent do they have to learn before they are qualified to learn the extraordinary scripture?" "At least, a conservative estimate is about 3 years," Zhang Feng said. "First of all, the language textbooks that I have set, which are the literature courses, cannot be left out. There is also mathematics. You have to learn at least the elementary level of physics before you can come into contact with the threshold of that mysterious scripture. I call this stuff chemistry." Chemistry? The 4 of them were completely confused by this strange name. Each one was more novel than the last. First, it was mathematics, which everyone could at least understand. But now there was chemistry? What was this? However, Zhang Feng did not explain. Instead, he continued, "It's still too early for chemistry. There's no point in thinking too much about it. So don't King try to trick me. Even if you do, not only will it not bring you any benefits, but it will also bring you endless harm. So put away your petty thoughts. I will teach you what I need to teach. Shouldn't you at least leave me, Zhang Feng, some family heirloom?" The last sentence was the most important thing to everyone. Cheng Yaojin only glanced at him. "Just based on the stuff that your grandson knows, if you had really done it properly, you would have been King famous in Chong and one word. You are King lazy. You are so lazy that there is no end to it." However, after talking for a long time, Cheng Chumo still did not hear what he wanted to hear. As for the mysterious scripture, it had nothing to do with him. He did not want to learn it. He only wanted to learn about the heavy cavalry. "Well, Fengzi, tell me, you have so many types of mathematics. How are you going to divide them into training? You can't possibly teach everyone according to what you just said, right? You know what? Although I don't know what you're talking about, I can tell from your expression that the things you're talking about are King deceptive things." Being exposed, Zhang Feng could not take it anymore. "Iron Bull, what are you talking about? Do you know that you are interrupting my path? Do you know that the things I created are the skills that I taught Zhuge Kongming? Just tell me, do you want to learn it or not?" Yes. When Cheng Chumo heard that it was Zhuge Kongming's name, how would he dare to say no? He was the god of war of the generation. "However, I still want to know what the heavy cavalry you are talking about is." Zhang Feng rubbed his forehead and searched his memory again for the training videos of the special forces, especially the Soldier's Assault and the novels that he had read before. He thought of something. Then he said, "Actually, I have thought of this for a long time. Didn't I say last time that you will be the most handsome one among the millions of soldiers?" Heavy cavalry. Cheng Chumo coughed and his face turned red. The most handsome one. Even Cheng Yaojin was interested. Heavy cavalry pays attention to weight. With extremely high defense, mobility, and fully armed armor, they will attack the enemy's battle formation. First of all, physical fitness. Let me ask you, if your physical fitness is not up to par, how long can you wear 50 kilograms of heavy armor? Cheng Chumo thought for a while and said, "About 2 hours. I estimate that within 2 hours on the battlefield, I should be able to carry 50 kilograms of heavy armor and wear 100 kilograms of heavy armor at most. And I heard that General Chang Yaojin and General Yuqi of the Tang dynasty are fierce generals who can carry 50 kilograms of heavy armor. Zhang Feng was speechless when he heard that. 50 kilograms of heavy armor for 2 hours? Zhang Feng did not know that Chang Chumo was flattering his father. But Zhang Feng was still very impressed. Wouldn't you be crushed to death if you wore 50 kilograms of heavy armor? That was really awesome. Zhang Feng gave him a thumbs up and said speechlessly, "Awesome! I, Zhang Feng, can only say that this stupid method is awesome." Chang Yaojin's face turned green. "Brother, this Chang Yaojin is the person I admire the most. Can you—" Fine. Zhang Feng was almost suffocated. He hurriedly begged for mercy. Only then did he crawl out from the crook of Chang Yaojin's arm. As if he had just survived a calamity, he said, "Heavy cavalry. It's not about how thick the armor is, or how much weight is needed to carry. On the contrary, heavy cavalry does not need such heavy armor at all. Only the simplest Mingguang armor of the Tang dynasty is enough." Chapter 328. Heavy cavalry doesn't need heavy armor? You, Zhang Feng, don't know how to spell death. If this is on the battlefield, I'm afraid that after a round of charge, the heavy cavalry will only be left with batches of horses. However, Zhang Feng continued, "I know you have concerns in your hearts, but I'll tell you the purpose of the heavy cavalry, and you'll understand. First of all, the heavy cavalry. I think you all understand, so I won't talk about it for the time being. Then I'll talk about my teaching philosophy." Zhang Feng was terrified. Under Chang Yaojin's raised hand, he hurriedly stopped talking about the heavy cavalry. People in this era could still distinguish these types of soldiers. First of all, they don't need heavy armor. On the contrary, they can carry more heavy equipment, such as strong crossbows, Turkic javelins, and so on. These are all acceptable. Think about it, if they are all dressed like iron balls, then are they going to war? Or are they resistant to beatings? Hearing this, Chang Yaojin nodded as if he understood. "You're right. In our army, the heavy cavalry is basically responsible for the impact of the enemy's formation, but the archers are generally very precious." "Do you mean to equip the archers into heavy cavalry?" "No." Zhang Feng shook his head. "Then what do you mean?" "Strong crossbows and javelins. Aren't these the equipment that only archers have?" Chang Yaojin couldn't accept it. He had been a soldier all his life. How could the training of an archer be comparable to that of a silly heavy cavalry? To put it bluntly, the heavy cavalry was a group of strong men riding big horses to charge the enemy's formation. Why would they need these things? A long spear for each person and a modeo for each person was the equipment of all the cavalry in the Tang dynasty. As for the difference between heavy cavalry and light cavalry, it was not so obvious. They only needed to throw away the armor, change the armor, and remove the protective gear on the warhorse, and basically become a light cavalry. How could there be so many rules? "Feng, this is the new soldiers' teaching material you prepared?" Chang Yaojin asked doubtfully. "Yeah." Zhang Feng shrugged. "I told you that you don't understand. Don't ask if you don't understand. Are you confused now?" Chang Yaojin was about to go crazy. He looked at Zhang Feng with eyes full of danger, as if saying, "Can you F***king say it all in one go?" Zhang Feng only glanced at it once before he hurriedly shrank his neck and continued, "Actually, this is my teaching philosophy. The combination of cavalry and crossbowmen can strengthen the advantage of long-range shooting. Think about the strong crossbows of the Tang dynasty. They can accurately shoot the enemy within 200 meters, but cavalry doesn't need to shoot so accurately. As long as there is a round of cavalry shooting, it can intimidate the enemy. It doesn't matter if we kill the enemy or not. We just need to intimidate them with our aura. As for the real killing of the enemy, let's welcome the light cavalry." At this point, Chang Chumo finally understood a little. "What you're saying is that the heavy cavalry is just for show on the battlefield. Running away after acting tough?" "Ah!" Zhang Feng choked on his food. "You can understand it that way. It's very awesome and very powerful. As for the specifics, you'll understand later. If cavalry is so fun, Why the F***ck did I introduce so many of them? When the time comes, you'll cry, Chuntiniu. Brother, tell me about the light cavalry. And that assassin of idiot Wei, what's the new function of that? Zhang Sun couldn't sit still anymore. He slapped Chang Chumo to the side and was about to sit next to Zhang Feng. But under Chang Yaojin's gaze, he could only squat next to Zhang Feng. Seeing this, Zhang Feng felt a little smug. He patted Zhang Xuan's head and said, "Don't be impatient. Listen to me slowly." Everyone's forehead was full of black lines. For this matter, we have to start with the heavy cavalry. After all, the cavalry's archery is only a deterrent, to make the enemy mistakenly think that we're constantly charging. And to be the best of the best will definitely be heavily targeted by the enemy. So at this time, it's time to show the importance of the heavy cavalry. Shield. This thing, you're all familiar with it, right? As long as there's a shield, it can block the attack without hindering the coordination of the body. And at the moment of the enemy's attack, it can use the shield formation to temporarily form a battle formation. This is a test of the flexibility of the heavy cavalry. But there's an important factor in this, and that is the leader of the heavy cavalry who becomes the target. If you, Tiniu, want to become such a person, you must coordinate all the strength in your body. Besides bearing weight, you must be more flexible in using your strength. This way, your brothers won't die in vain to protect you. The heavy cavalry that I want only has 3 requirements. As long as you can pass, then congratulations, on the battlefield, you'll become the most beautiful child. First, coordination, perfect cooperation, and orderly discipline. Second, take off the heavy armor, put on the light armor, and put on the shield. You only need to know that on the battlefield, you'll be a mad bull and you'll be finished. Third, if you want to become the leader of this group of madmen, you must perfectly satisfy the first 2 requirements. Chentiniu, you still want to become the most beautiful child on the battlefield? Become the heavy cavalry I mentioned. Chapter 329. How could Chang Chumo not think about it? As a military family, his dream was to surpass his father's existence. He wanted to use his own fists to create his own career. He did not want to rely on his father's halo to pass his days in a daze. He was already sick of it. However, his father was not stupid. He was just pretending to be stupid. This was the only way for the Chung family to prosper. This was also the rule of being an official. He must not leave any evidence for the emperor and the other civil and military officials to use against him. Otherwise, that little bit of evidence could become a fatal blow. This was the reason why Chang Chumo was so excited when he heard that Zhang Feng wanted to teach him about the heavy cavalry. Originally, he was in despair. Even if he knew, his father would not let him join the army. As for his official career, forget it. In Chang Yaojin's words, their ancestors were not people who held a pen. However, he did not know what happened in the end. He actually agreed to change the song, which could be considered as tacit approval of his wish to join the army. This caused Chang Chumo's heart, which had already been extinguished, to burn once more. Zhang Sun was the same. He also wanted to join the army. However, it was also because of his status as a duke that he could not breathe under the pressure. However, after knowing the emperor's tacit approval, how could he not be excited? At this moment, after hearing that the heavy cavalry was so awesome, how could he sit still? He asked impatiently, "Brother, you are the savior of my insect. Tell me, what is this light cavalry? How is it different from the current light cavalry?" Zhang Feng thought for a moment and said, "There is really no difference." "What?" Zhang Sun exploded. Chang Chumo smiled. Zhang Sun saw that Zhang Feng was deep in thought. He took the opportunity to pick up a wine jar from the ground and smashed it on Chang Chumo's head. This time, Chang Chumo finally quieted down. "Brother, think about it carefully. If you really teach me this skill, even if I have to climb a mountain of swords or swim in a sea of fire, I will repay you." "Fengzi, just say it. You see, Cheng Tai, you are already so awesome. You can't." Zhang Sun stopped thinking about what Zhang Feng was thinking. He could not help but ask suspiciously, "Brother, are you bragging?" Who the F***ck is bragging about this? Zhang Feng was annoyed. Let me tell you something. If it's the light cavalry, then there is a way to differentiate it. But since you are so anxious, I think of something. Light cavalry should be light and easy to catch the enemy off guard. Zhang Feng had only combined the warhorses of this era. However, when Zhang Sun asked, he did not know what to do. However, when he saw Chen Tiniu smiling, he instinctively picked up a wine jar from the ground and smashed it on Chen Tiniu's head. Instantly, Zhang Feng thought of a soldier class. Who the F***ck said that light cavalry has to be a cavalry? Who the F***ck dares to say that? I really want to chop him up. Special forces. This profession was very suitable for this guy. There was no choice. This guy was too active and agile. Such a person was suitable for fishing in troubled waters. Cough, cough. It was not fishing in troubled waters. It was taking advantage of the chaos to launch a surprise attack. Thinking of this, Zhang Feng narrowed his eyes and said, Chong, I only have one thing to say. If you think it's okay, then this matter is settled. If you don't think it's okay, then follow Tai Nyo. Say it. Who the F***ck is as reckless as him? Lao Tzu. That please say it. Zhang Sun said excitedly. However, when he raised his head and saw Cheng Yaojin staring at him, he trembled and quickly changed his words. Zhang Feng could tell that although this group of people was usually sloppy, they would have their own opinions when faced with a real problem. Zhang Feng could not help but say, I once had an idea. It's an experience I summarized from the 18 Steeds of Yenyun. You all know about the 18 Steeds of Yenyun, right? Let's not talk about it now. At that time, this unit was feared by everyone. What did they rely on? On one hand, it was their excellent equipment. On the other hand, it was their undefeated discipline and military quality. However, in the end, they still declined and were even wiped out. However, at that time, this unit was feared by everyone. How did they get wiped out in the end? I won't talk about the reasons for this for now. I'll just talk about one point. They are a spirit that roams outside the battlefield. They don't care about victory or defeat. They only care about the mission. They are like spirits. Anyone who dares to stand in their way will perish under their iron hooves. They only care about whether their target is dead or alive. They only care about whether the mission can be completed in the shortest time possible. What do you think will happen to this unit? This Cheng Yaojin and Du Go, who was taking notes with chalk, were stunned. Spirit unit. What was that? A unit that did not care about victory or defeat. They only cared about the mission. What did that mean? The 18 Steeds of Yenyun. What was that? They could not know. When the 18 Steeds of Yenyun was mentioned, Cheng Yaojin stood up in shock. He looked at Zhang Feng and asked, Brother Zhang Feng, are you saying that you want to create a unit of the 18 Steeds of Yenyun? No, I want to create a unit that can fight in any terrain and any environment. Bug, do you want to go? Chapter 330. Should he go? Zhang Sun remained silent. Cheng Chumo was about to say that he wanted to go, but Cheng Yaojin stopped him with a look. As an experienced general and the senior of this group of youths, he knew their abilities like the back of his hand. Cheng Chumo was suited to charge around recklessly. Zhang Feng's arrangement was right, but Zhang Sun, even though he had been imitating Zhao Zilong's style of training, he wouldn't have stopped Zhang Feng if he had followed Zhao Zilong's style of training. However, the 18 Steeds of Yenyun was already a legendary battle formation training method. From the rise of the 18 Steeds of Yenyun to its fall, no one had been able to replicate the training method of this troop. Did Zhang Feng really have a way? Luo Yi was dead. This method was completely lost. Could it be that Zhang Feng really had such a method? This was what shocked Cheng Yaojin the most. Luo Yi had relied on the 18 Steeds of Yenyun to be able to move around like a fish in water. However, he was also someone that no one dared to mention. In the first year of Jingguan, Luo Yi rebelled and his 18 Steeds of Yenyun was destroyed. No one dared to mention this part of history, and no one dared to imitate it. However, Zhang Feng actually suggested such a method. Cheng Yaojin couldn't help but hesitate. Brother Zhang Feng, Do you really know the training method of the 18 steeds of Yenyun? How did you know about this? Zhang Feng shook his head when he saw Chang Yaojin's serious expression. I don't know the training method of the 18 steeds of Yenyun. It's just an example. This isn't funny. Do you know the grudge between this person and the emperor? You can talk about the 18 steeds of Yenyun here, but don't mention it in front of outsiders. If someone with ulterior motives were to hear this, you would be labeled as a traitor. I know. I'm not stupid. Zhang Feng rolled his eyes. Of course, he knew how powerful the 18 steeds of Yenyun was. The reason he had brought this up was because the 18 steeds of Yenyun was comparable to the special forces he was going to train. Furthermore, they were quite familiar with the 18 steeds of Yenyun, so they could understand it better. That was all. Zhang Feng's head was not hard enough. He was not willing to use his head to touch the taboo of the Tang dynasty. This is just an example. Don't worry too much. I can guarantee that the people I train will only be more powerful than the 18 steeds of Yenyun. You only need to remember this. As for the light cavalry, forget it. It's more appropriate to call the people I train the special forces. From individual combat to joint combat, every one of them can quickly split up to become the strongest individual soldier. They can also instantly combine together to become a team of human bulldozers. What do you think? Insects, do you dare to come to the special forces to play? At that time, you will be able to fight alongside Iron Bull again. I'll do it. As long as you dare to teach and Lao Li doesn't object, insects will do it. Zhang Feng nodded and added, Oh right, this is also my test for your sister. I will only teach the few of you for now. As for the others, that is the homework I gave you. If any of your subordinates don't learn well and don't get a passing score, you will be punished together with them. Also, dating, you have to participate too. Du Go was dumbfounded. What does this have to do with me? I didn't say I was going to the battlefield. I'm just here to learn. Zhang Feng rolled his eyes. You? I'm just asking you. Do you want to learn what I teach? Yes. Du Go nodded stubbornly. Then that's it. Since you want to learn, then learn everything. I don't expect you to be as awesome as Iron Bull or insects, but at the very least, you must be able to F*King arrange troops and let them live well. In all my teaching principles, you Ligon, Idiot Wei, Insect, Iron Bull, and none of them can be missing. Everyone was stunned. Zhang Feng continued, Do you know why I told Lao Li to open this academy? Could it be that your time is up? Cheng Chumo asked doubtfully. Zhang Feng was instantly enraged. F*CKU. You're asking for a beating. Cheng Chumo scratched his head and said, Didn't Lao Li and the others say that you have been cultivating in that place for 5,000 years? F*CK off. Can't Lao Tzu act cool? F*CKU. Zhang Feng was depressed again. He slammed the table angrily and said, I'm doing this for your own good. Think about it, when the time comes, you will be able to enter the imperial court with me as officials. If you do well, I will also be proud, right? Most importantly, you are now entering the imperial court from merchants. If you don't have some skills, do you think you can establish yourself in the imperial court? Do you think you can be like me? I'm giving you a chance. Are you stupid? Most importantly, Li Gan has learned a lot and his knowledge is too broad. So on the battlefield, I am assured that he will be the commander. De Bing will be the strategist. As for, what about Idiot Wei? What will he do? Du Go asked. At this moment, they finally understood why Zhang Feng would make such arrangements. This method, even with their current status, would give them a chance to challenge those old fogies in the imperial court after they were conferred titles on the battlefield. Because all they had was a single word. Everything. 2 words. A wide range of knowledge. From mathematics to economics to war planning and so on, they were in charge of everything. However, there seemed to be one person missing. Idiot Wei. Chapter 331. As for Wei Shuyu, Zhang Feng didn't know why everyone called him Big Idiot. Although he looked rash, he didn't look like an idiot. He was Old Wei's son. Old Wei looked so smart. Could it be that this was the gene saying that when things reach an extreme, they will move in the opposite direction? Zhang Feng couldn't make sense of it. However, after interacting with this group of people for so long, he more or less understood the situation. Big Idiot Wei was really suited for the path of assassination. Lao Li actually dared to let him be his personal bodyguard. That night, he actually climbed up my roof without me knowing. From that moment on, I knew that this guy was good at the path of assassination. Then, what kind of awesome assassination technique have you mastered? Du Go was eager to give it a try. Zhang Feng was speechless. He looked at Du Go as if he was looking at an idiot. I think Big Idiot Wei shouldn't be called an idiot. I think you are the real idiot. You are a pig. If I knew a little, would I be beaten by you guys like a rubber ball? Du Go didn't care that he was being looked down upon by Zhang Feng. Instead, he wanted to know more about the path of assassination. Cheng Yaojin couldn't help but ask, Feng Zi, the path of assassination you are talking about is? Zhang Feng drank a mouthful of wine. He stood up, clasped his hands behind his back, and narrowed his eyes at the door. Cheng Yaojin knew that Zhang Feng was about to show off. He glared at Du Go. What are you standing there for? Quickly write down every word for Lao Tzu. If you dare to forget a word, you will suffer when we return. Du Go was terrified. He shrunk his neck, dipped it in ink, and waited for Zhang Feng to open his mouth. Zhao Ke wears a beard tassel. Wu Go shines like frost and snow. A silver saddle shines on a white horse, valiant like a shooting star, killing a man in 10 steps, leaving no trace for 1,000 miles. Leisurely, Xian Ling drinks, unsheathing his sword and crossing his knee. He would beat Zhu Hai with his scorch, and persuade Ho Ying to win with his spear. After 3 cups of wine, the 5 sacred mountains are light. After the blurry eyes and hot ears, high spirits are born. To save Zhao, wielding a golden hammer, Han Dan is first shocked. 2 heroes of 1,000 years, standing at the top of Daliang City. Even in death, the heroic bones are fragrant, not ashamed of the heroes of the world. Who can compare to you the white-headed Taishin Sutra? This, Cheng Yaojin was shocked. Du Go was aghast. Zhang Sunchong and Cheng Chumo were so excited that their blood was boiling. 10 steps to kill a person. 1,000 li unstoppable. This is a damn chivalrous hero. F***CK. This why was it Big Idiot Wei? Why wasn't it Lao Tzu? Lao Tzu also wanted to settle his grudges so quickly. Everyone roared in their hearts. Zhang Feng's poem reflected a kind of artistic conception. No matter who it was, they would be deeply attracted by the artistic conception within the poem, repaying kindness and enmity as one pleases. This is the true path of a real man. Brother Zhang Feng, what is the name of this poem? Du Go was a little choked up. Previously, he was indeed very resistant and despised the vulgarity of the soldiers. However, when this poem was recited, it instantly reminded him of the poem recited by Zhang Feng and Zhang Feng's line. If there's nothing else, let's go out for a walk. At this moment, he finally understood. This poem, let's call it Chivalrous Journey. Zhang Feng's voice was incomparably bleak. Originally, he wanted to leave this poem for himself. After activating the system, he wanted to inscribe a poem on the city walls of Chong, and likely Taibai, and then leave in a carefree manner. However, that damn system had not been activated yet. Moreover, he had a goal. For example, he wanted to become the emperor equal to the emperor and then watch the whole world become the territory of the Tang dynasty. When that time came, wouldn't it be even more enjoyable to be carefree? He wouldn't have to worry about being harassed to death. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have a concubine on his left and a zither on his right and carry a group of wives and concubines around the world with a poem and a carefree manner? Therefore, he didn't want to waste his breath just now. He directly recited the poem. After all, he didn't know if Li Bai's mother had given birth yet. Borrowing his poem could be considered as promoting him. Thinking of this, Zhang Feng suddenly came back to his senses. This was a F***king digression. I originally prepared this poem for myself. Let me say this first. If anyone dares to say that Lao Tzu is about to ascend, when the time comes, Lao Tzu's training will be doubled. Hearing that, Sanhua, who was about to say something, quickly covered his mouth. Zhang Feng then said, "But I still want to say it first. It's a kind of encouragement for you guys. Life is a war. How you can win this war depends on how you plan. And each of you has mastered different skills. I don't know if it's God's will, but each of you is very weak individually. But if you work together, then in the future you will definitely become the most beautiful children of the Tang dynasty. As for Shuyu, he is an assassin who lives in the shadows. Although I don't have the ability to teach him the art of assassination, and of course I don't have such awesome skills, I can teach him to become the most awesome person in this field. He will also be the biggest trump card when your lives are in danger in the future. No matter in terms of speed or anything else, he is 100 times better than you. You should know this, right? Zhang Feng asked. They patted their heads and nodded. A fierce man who can drink half a jar of alcohol and not die? I don't think I deserve it. Chapter 332. On this matter, all of them admitted defeat. Previously, they did not recognize that it was alcohol and thought that Wei Shuyu had a high alcohol tolerance. But after knowing that it was alcohol, everyone worshipped Wei Shuyu as a god. Even the emperor was shocked. Such a god. Cheng Chumo and the others were full of admiration for Zhang Feng's arrangement this time. Think about it, she was fine with alcohol. What about them? They probably did not even dare to drink. Looking at Dugo, this guy only drank a bowl and was drunk for a day. How could they compete? Cheng Yaojin stroked his beard. Seeing that Dugo had more or less remembered everything, he stood up. Feng Zi, since this thing has come out, let's go back and tell Lao Li about it. We'll make preparations here. Oh right, don't run around if you have nothing to do. Lao Li is afraid that something will happen to you. Also, don't waste your ability. After saying that, Cheng Yaojin put down a string of money and left. He left in a carefree manner. However, Zhang Feng seriously suspected that this guy was insulting him. But he did not have any evidence. After finishing the matter here, Dugo poured a bowl of alcohol and came to Zhang Feng's side. He said, "Brother Zhang Feng, my admiration for you can be said to be like the rivers and lakes of the sea. If you have something to fart, just say it." Zhang Feng looked at Dugo suspiciously and said directly, "That?" Dugo rubbed his hands and said, "You also saw it. My small body can't withstand such torment, so I think I'll just settle this business at the back. Isn't that good enough? Why do I have to go to the battlefield? I'm a scholar. Isn't it inappropriate for me to go to the battlefield?" Inappropriate? Zhang Feng stared. You think I'm joking? From the beginning, I said that if you can't afford to play, then get lost. Who was the one who pestered me to learn something? And last night, who was the one who forced me to drink to the point of death to trick me? Zhang Feng remembered everything. It could also be said that although he was drunk, his mind was clear. Every single one of them was King good stuff. Each one was worse than the other. If it wasn't for his quick reflexes on a hot night, he might have even revealed his crotch cloth. Now he was begging for mercy? Although Cheng Chumo and Zhang Sunchong did not understand Zhang Feng's intentions, Dugo did. This was using official power for personal gain. However, Zhang Feng's words were so extravagant and awesome that the two idiots were already kicking each other in excitement. Who the hell would know that this was a scheme set up by Zhang Feng? They were already in the military. As for training, could it be that Zhang Feng could play them to death? But Dugo was different. This guy was a bookworm. With Zhang Feng doing this, he would be done for in a matter of minutes. Thus, he strongly protested that he did not want to go to the military. But at this moment, the two idiots on each side of Dugo said, "Brother, do you know what it means to enjoy blessings together? Can't you see that this is a chance Fengzi is giving us? He's combining all the things we're good at. This way, we can be good brothers for life. Tell me, what can you do by staying in your room and playing with those stupid books all day? Why don't you come with us to the military camp? That's a good place to earn military credits. Once you have enough credits, you'll be promoted. Won't that be a matter of minutes? Besides, even Li Gon wants to go. What are you afraid of? Do you think you're more awesome than Brother Gon? Bing? Dugo wanted to cry. He wanted to beat these two idiots to death. Why did the things he learned on a daily basis not work at this time? Seeing this, Zhang Feng also started egging him on. That's right. De Bing, you're too weak. Think about it, if it weren't for those soldiers at the border, do you think you could do academic research in peace? Let me tell you another poem. Smoke rises in the desert. The sun sets in the yellow river. Can you see such a scene in Chang'an? Think about all the poems I mentioned before. Think about it, that scene. Taste it. Taste it carefully. Do you want to be a coward who's been protected since young and hide in your books? Or do you want to personally witness the rise of the Tang dynasty? Taste it. Taste it carefully. Well, Tainyo, Chong, let's go. Let's go find a carpenter and let this idiot think about it. At the same time, watch the door. All of a sudden, Zhang Feng had completely fooled Du Go. At this moment, he was stunned. In the end, he was like a wooden sculpture, stunned. Zhang Feng happily pulled Cheng Chumo and Zhang Sun out of the door. As soon as they went out, they were startled by the glaring sunlight. For the first time, Zhang Feng felt that this wasn't too bad. Life is like a drama. It's all about acting skills. Feng Zi, why are we going to find a carpenter? Fix the door? Why don't we just replace this broken door with a new one? Cheng Chumo scratched his head in confusion. Zhang Feng slapped the back of Cheng Chumo's head and shouted, Lao Tzu, this door has a grudge with your Chen family. Today you have to replace it with a sturdy one. If it's broken in the future, I'll blame it on you. Also, when did I say that I'm looking for a carpenter to fix the door? Chapter 333. Then, why did we come out? Zhang Sun looked at Zhang Feng curiously. But when he saw the wretched look on Zhang Feng's face, he suddenly understood. Are you going to see Miss Jingshu? Get lost. I'm not that perverted. Ghost. Now tell me, last night, did you? Zhang Sun gave him a knowing look. Zhang Feng wanted to beat him up. Damn you, is Lao Tzu such a shameless person? Do you think everyone is as impatient as Iron Bull? Even if Lao Tzu wants to do that, he has to be romantic. Otherwise, he doesn't deserve his status. Zhang Feng also began to brag. Cheng Chumo was not having it. He pointed at his nose and asked, Bro, what does this have to do with me? You're ugly. Get lost, stinky bug. You're the ugly one, your whole family is ugly. Oh right, could it be that you're not here to see Miss Jingshu but to see Miss Zhang? The two idiots couldn't help but show a gossipy look. Zhang Feng wanted to beat them up. F***ck off. F***ck off. I just want to come out and take a walk. Mother ***. Why is your head full of women? Lao Tzu is a scholar. That's not right. Cheng Chumo was the first to lose it. He wanted to stir up trouble. But he was blocked by Zhang Feng first. That's enough, all of you stop talking nonsense. I came out this time to think about how to quickly get the teaching tools ready. When the time comes, all of you annoying fellows should get the hell out of the school as soon as possible. I'll get the old scholar to teach you. Wait! Zhang Sun looked at Zhang Feng in surprise and asked, You mean, let the old scholar teach us? What can he teach us? Zhang Feng glanced at the two of them. He won't teach anything, just the rules. Otherwise, Lao Tzu will be annoyed by your sloppy behavior. Zhang Feng was not good at teaching, but there was someone else who was good at it, the old scholar. Although he didn't know how to teach people, at least he knew a little about etiquette. Before teaching them, he had to smooth out their edges. This would be helpful for their future development. They were like a sword now, a sword full of killing intent. If he didn't let them hide their edge first, damn it, in less than 3 months, he would definitely be on the same level as those teachers. He trampled 20 years old. He didn't want to go bald. So, he thought of the old scholar. Although the old scholar rejected him previously, Zhang Feng was confident that he could fool him again. And he would take the initiative. He was a scholar. Don't they all like those poems and songs? In any case, he had already memorized the 18 strokes of Hygge. What was there to be afraid of in the future? This was good stuff. Kai Wenji's posthumous work, even if he took it out now, there would be scholars going crazy. As long as he waved it in front of the old scholar's eyes, the old scholar would definitely come. What's more, once the old scholar learned how to play it, he would be able to bring Miss Jingshu over and have her teach this group of loafers. That would be a wonderful thing, as long as he said it a little pretentiously. He, Zhang believed that no one would not want to learn. After all, life was just a show. What did it depend on to appear? It was frivolity. No, there was one more person. Miss Zhang. He had to get her too. Washing clothes, cooking, serving tea, etc. He had to serve her. Otherwise, wouldn't he be letting himself down? Thinking about it, Zhang Feng couldn't help but smile. His smile was so cheap. Iron Bull. Look at this guy, is he thinking of women? Look at his smile, it's frivolous. Zhang Sun looked at Zhang Feng with infinite disdain. Chang Chumo also looked at Zhang Feng and subconsciously leaned back. Let's stand further away, this guy is probably in heat. On the other side, in the Zhang residence. At this time, Miss Zhang Yuyao, was listening to the maid Cui talk about the Yen Lai restaurant. Her eyes were filled with shock. Cui, do you think that young Master Zhang and that Jing Shu, when the time comes for me to marry into their family, will I be the official wife? Miss, what are you thinking? I heard from the people in Yen Lai restaurant that young Master Zhang is a big idiot. People enter Yen Lai restaurant to do that, but he just stood in the hall in a daze. He's also amazing, breaking all of Jing Shu's zither songs. So, under a freak combination of factors, this happened. It's also that group of stubborn and hateful people. They knew that the son-in-law didn't know anything, but they still brought him to that kind of brothel. Miss, do you want to write a letter to let Prince Zhang stay away from those stubborn people? Cui. Zhang Yuyao's cheeks were red. She glared at Cui and said shyly, you also know that young Master Zhang is a little slow on this matter. Maybe after those stubborn people do this, Prince Zhang will be enlightened. Okay, miss, I was worried that you would take things too hard. You're so shameless. Cui was anxious. She went up and played with Miss Zhang. While the two were playing, Chang Yaojin's servant, Old Ning, personally came to the Zhang residence's door. Chapter 334. Old Ning came to visit, and he didn't have a famous visiting card, which was not common in the business circle. The status of the merchants in Great Tang was extremely low, and the Zhang clan was no exception. Today, when the attendant saw the other party, he could tell from the other party's eyes, the calluses on his hands, and his attire that the other party was a soldier. How could Zhang Shan, the patriarch of the Zhang family, not see this? Just when he saw the way the man walked, he understood everything in an instant. The purpose of this man's visit was not simple. Is it because of the jade hairpin? Thinking of this, Zhang Shan looked a little nervous. He looked at Old Ning and hurried to greet him. Brother, please forgive me for not coming out to meet you. Zhang Shan cupped his hands and was about to greet him. Old Ning was not a reserved person. After Zhang Shan greeted him, he nodded and said, I'm also here on the order of the patriarch. I'm just here to have a look. Hearing this, the Zhang family, who had been trembling with fear, became more confused. The visitor was obviously a soldier. If he was not here for the jade hairpin, what was he here for? But at this time they couldn't figure it out. Since it was not a bad thing, they dismissed the women and led Old Ning into the living room. After serving tea, Old Ning said, I've heard that there is a strange woman in the Zhang family. My master wanted to visit her in person, but he was busy, so he sent me here with a gift. Zhang Shan was confused. What does this mean? Gift? What is there to celebrate? Could it be that son-in-law? Zhang Shan was also a clever person. He hurriedly took a red sandalwood box with both hands. Old Ning then said, I know you are confused. My master and Zhang Feng call each other brothers. This gift was originally for Zhang Feng, but that guy is also an interesting person. He said that there was no need for gifts between brothers, so he refused the gift. But my master is also very curious about Zhang Feng's future in-law, so he sent me here to have a look and to know the family. That brat is an unreasonable person. Although he is very talented, his character is too stubborn. He has never accepted ill-gotten gains. Otherwise, with his ability, he would have earned a lot from Zhang Feng. However, such a young man is rare. Old Ning followed Chang Yaojin's instructions and learned about Zhang Feng's ability from Chang Yaojin. Only then did he praise Zhang Feng. This was not a big deal. The most important thing was that Chang Yaojin was afraid that Zhang Feng's matter today would cause the Zhang family to misunderstand. So he asked him to clean up after Zhang Feng. Could also be considered as a way to find out what the Zhang family was up to. However, after hearing old Ning praise Zhang Feng, Zhang Shan instantly lost his composure. He was so excited that he scolded the servants to serve good tea and good dishes. He also sincerely sighed that the Zhang family was blessed. The Zhang family's only daughter could marry a literati. That was also the Zhang family's 8 generations of good fortune and so on. After getting Zhang Shan's guarantee, old Ning and Zhang Shan sat at the table and drank to their heart's content. During this time, Zhang Shan made an exception and let Zhang Yuyao come out to personally pour a bowl of wine for old Ning. When old Ning saw Zhang Yuyao, his eyes widened. He excitedly hugged the wine jar and drank a jar of wine. After that, he took out a piece of jade from his arms, smacked his lips, and put it in Zhang Yuyao's hand. I am a rough person. This jade was obtained by my master in the outer region and was given to me. Although it is not a valuable thing, it is the first time we meet today. Take it as a meeting gift from me, old Ning. Zhang Yuyao respectfully accepted it and bowed. Thank you for the gift, senior. Ha ha ha. You can just call me old Ning. My master and Zhang Feng call each other brothers. You will be Zhang Feng's wife in the future and Zhang Feng's legal wife. You can't call me senior. A legal wife made Zhang Yuyao and Zhang Shan feel much more at ease. The matter of Jingshu had already caused a stir in Chang'an City. How could they not know? Although this matter was covered up tightly, it was all seen by the neighbors. How could Zhang Shan not be worried when the news reached the Zhang residence in private? Although the daughter of the Zhang family knew some zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting, how could she be compared with the talented girl who made the whole Tang dynasty go crazy? But at this time, the arrival of this mysterious person made Zhang Shan feel relieved. In addition, this person's arrival also meant that this marriage was settled. Although Zhang Shan had heard of Zhang Feng's reputation before, it was basically a lazy person who ate and ate. Although he was a little talented, could that be eaten? Now look, not to mention whether that thing could be eaten. Judging from the person he knew who could send a person from the army to visit him, this guy seemed to be doing well. And that piece of jade, although it was for his daughter, at a glance, he knew that it was definitely worth more than 10 taels of silver. Mutton fat jade. This thing was not something that an ordinary family could take out. Could it be that Zhang Feng's future son-in-law was really lucky and had a relationship with a rich official? After drinking with old Ning for a while with a heavy heart, old Ning left with a satisfactory answer. Zhang Shan stroked the beard on his chin and carefully opened the delicate wooden box under the nervous gazes of Zhang Yuyao, Madam, and Zhang Shan. However, when Zhang Shan saw the thing inside, his eyes could not help but shrink violently. Under the surprised eyes of the two women, Zhang Shan took a deep breath and said in a dignified voice, "Today's matter, no one can spread it. Just take it that the future son-in-law sent someone to visit Wang Yuyao." Chapter 335. Everyone was dismissed. It was rare that Zhang Shan did not even do any business today. He sat alone in the study, staring at the wooden box in his hand in a daze. "Father!" After an unknown amount of time, Zhang Yuyao's voice slowly appeared in the study. Yuyao was wearing a light yellow gown. She had a pair of big eyes and the red lips she inherited from her mother. Everything about her was so seductive. Yuyao's mother was a Huji. When Zhang Shan was young, he was a slave of a rich family. Because he was good at making snacks, the old lady in the family liked him very much. That was why he was given the surname Zhang. When he reached the age of marriage, the old lady found a beautiful Huji and gave her to Zhang Shan. She also removed Zhang Shan's slave status and rewarded him with 10 taels of silver. He bought some things and started a family. That was how he started this Isin snack shop. It had been more than 20 years. Zhang Shan had never forgotten the kindness of that family. But today, the thing old Ning sent to him made his heart tremble. That thing was the ornament he had seen several times in the old lady's house. He thought that the general's wife wore an ornament around her waist. At that time, the woman's ornament accidentally fell, and fell into Zhang Shan's hands. When it fell, one of the bird wings on the jade pendant was broken. Because of this, he held the ornament and cried in the kitchen for a whole night. The old lady heard his cries and the servants of the Cheng family came to look for him. So, she returned the ornament. It was also at that time that Madame Cheng rewarded him with 10 taels of silver. That was why. But today this ornament appeared again. Then, everything made sense. How many people in Cheng and city could order soldiers around and call them master from the bottom of their hearts? Other than Cheng Yaojin, Zhang Shan could not think of anyone else. And what did this jade pendant mean? It meant that Zhang Feng, his future son-in-law, was the Cheng family's benefactor. If the Duke of the Duke's family could call him brother, then Zhang Shan couldn't help but feel a little uncertain. The only thing he could be sure of was that the Cheng clan knew everything about him. Secondly, the Cheng clan didn't mention anything about what had happened in the past. This meant that they completely respected Zhang Shan's wishes regarding this marriage. He, Cheng Yaojin, did not ask him to open it immediately. Moreover, he had asked the family general to inquire about it. This meant that Cheng Yaojin was still giving him face. Everything was up to him. Could he make the decision? This matter had been decided long ago. He had never thought of breaking off the engagement. He knew that the foundation of the Zhang clan was that Yuyao was the only daughter. He only hoped that Yuyao would be satisfied with this marriage and that she would be happy in the future. That was enough. The reason why he agreed to the old scholar's marriage was mainly because of Zhang Feng's talent. They were both surnamed Zhang. This was the main reason why he had agreed to this marriage. He wanted to let Zhang Feng rely on his reputation, his face, and his family background to be able to see Zhang Feng represent the Zhang family and enter the Zhang family in his lifetime. That would be enough. Zhang Shan looked at Yuyao's worried face. He took a deep breath and asked, "Yuyao, in the blink of an eye, you're already 18 years old. You know everything about our family. We were born as slaves. Although we got help from a noble in the end and got rid of our slave status, our household registration was even more despicable. That's why I want to find a better descendant so that you can live the rest of your life without worry. But you also know that the people in Cheng and city are either rich second generations or the sons of officials. With our family status, you can only be a concubine. I can't bear to see you go. I can't bear to see you suffer. Father." Yuyao also cried like a pear blossom in the rain. Zhang Shan sighed and wiped away his tears. "I shouldn't have said these things. But I just want you to know that we didn't have a choice in our birth. So I'll ask you again. You've heard of Zhang Feng's reputation. You even sent Cui to see him. I've also heard about him. That brat is unkind and replied to your letter. So, I want to ask you one more question. Zhang Feng, are you going to marry me or not? If you're willing, just nod your head. Even if I have to go bankrupt, I'll fight for the title of your first wife." You've also heard what that person said just now. Zhang Feng is an outstanding literary talent. He's favored by a big shot and will definitely have a meteoric rise in the future. Now, he's having an affair with Jingshu. If you don't mind, even if I have to be shameless, I'll fight for you. Father, I'm willing. Zhang Yuyao cried. She knew what her father wanted. Her father wanted to serve the Zhang family all his life. He wanted to draw the name of an official on the Zhang family's genealogy book. And, for various reasons, Zhang Feng's name had already been engraved in her heart. His poems were the things that accompanied him to sleep every night. How could she not be willing? Although she didn't know what her father was worried about, she knew one thing. Zhang Feng was her husband. What she didn't know was that Zhang Shan was worried that once he stepped into the Cheng family circle, it was destined that his future would not be peaceful. After all, the matter of Guanlong targeting Cheng Yaojin was not over yet. The waiter from Swallow Descent restaurant, who came to buy pastries, had told him everything. Chapter 336. On the main street of Chang'an, Zhang Feng aimlessly took Chang Chumo and Zhang Sun for a stroll. In order not to attract attention, Zhang Feng ordered the two of them to go to a ready-made clothing store to change into something less flashy. Zhang Feng even borrowed an eyebrow pencil from the cosmetic store next to the ready-made clothing store and gave the two of them some simple makeup. But because of the sweat, he touched it with his hand. His entire face was dark. Now, even if Chang Chumo's father stood in front of him, he might not be able to recognize Chang Chumo. After strolling through another street, Chang Chumo sat in front of a stall selling fermented glutinous rice and asked, "Fengzi, are we out for a stroll? In any case, we should at least eat something before we leave. It's been 4 hours. What do we eat? My treat?" Zhang Feng looked at the fermented glutinous rice stall and simply sat down. "Okay, shopkeeper. Give me 3 bowls of fermented glutinous rice." Chang Chumo shouted excitedly, and did not forget to shout again, "Shopkeeper, it's old fermented rice." The so-called old fermented rice was the local dialect of Chang'an. It was the pure taste of aged fermented glutinous rice. Even a woman who did not drink wine would be pressed to the ground by a bowl of fermented glutinous rice. While the shopkeeper was cooking the fermented glutinous rice, Chang Chumo asked, "Fengzi, what are we doing here? Are we inquiring about Yan Lai restaurant?" "Shoo." Zhang Feng made a sound and asked in puzzlement, "I want to see if I can find that silly Chang Chumo. He is the real devil. We inadvertently plucked the flower Jingshu. Now with his temper, won't he turn Chong and city upside down? As for Zhang Sun Chong and the others, I find it strange too. These 4 great demon kings, after such a big thing happened, can they really sit still?" Zhang Feng's suspicions were not wrong. If the 4 devil kings really knew that the number 1 flower in the capital had been plucked, wouldn't they explode? But now, not to mention Chang Chumo and the other masters, even those stubborn ones did not appear. Did they all like to appear at night? Zhang Sun looked at Chang Chumo with a strange expression and said, "Tainyo, Fengzi is asking you why didn't Chang Chumo go crazy and turn Chong and city upside down? F***ck off. It would have been better if Zhang Sun Chong hadn't said anything." Now that Zhang Sun Chong had spoken, Chang Chumo was instantly enraged. "Damn it, Lao Tzu is sitting next to you and this Jingshu girl. If Lao Tzu did not say anything, who would dare to step on her steps? In a few minutes, Lao Tzu's lifeblood would be plucked out." Moreover, this matter was personally led by Chang Chumo, who sent Zhang Feng to Jingshu's mouth. He also wanted to give Zhang Feng something that he could take out. In fact, he just wanted to show off in front of Zhang Feng. He wanted to make Zhang Feng suffer. Otherwise, this grandson would be so arrogant all day long. Seeing him show off made him want to beat him up. This time, he did not expect that he would finally be able to show off in front of a bug. He wanted to see Zhang Feng suffer. But he did not expect that, damn it, he really plucked this flower with his own ability. There was no need to say anything. This was all Zhang Feng's ability. But was there a need to mention Chang Chumo's stubbornness? What did Lao Tzu do to you? All right, Fengzi, if you came out just for this matter, I advise you to put your heart at ease. This matter, Tainyo's father is involved. This means that no one will dare to mention this matter in the future. Even that bastard Chang Chumo won't dare to say anything. Really? Zhang Feng looked suspiciously at Chang Chumo and Zhang Sun. He had a feeling that these 2 guys were up to something, but even if there was no evidence, he simply did not think about it. The fragrant fermented rice, coupled with the soft glutinous rice balls, greatly increased Zhang Feng's appetite. The 3 of them widened their eyes as they watched the shopkeeper bring the food over. He blew on the sides of the bowl while taking a deep breath. Then he exhaled a mouthful of hot air and drank again. After drinking a few mouthfuls, Chang Chumo patted Zhang Feng's shoulder. Fortunately, Zhang Feng did not agree and hurriedly dodged. Chang Chumo's slap almost pressed Zhang Xuan's head into the bowl. Chang Chumo's sword had caused trouble. He hurriedly said, "Well, after we eat, should we go to Yan Lai restaurant and see how Miss Jingshu avoided this disaster?" "Damn it, you still want to go to a brothel?" Zhang Feng's head hurt. Whenever he heard the word brothel, his head hurt. "After eating fermented rice, all of you go and work for Lao Tzu. Go and find the best carpenter in Chang'an City for me." Carpenter? When Chang Chumo and Zhang Feng heard this, they finally understood why Zhang Feng was wandering around Chang'an City. He was looking for a carpenter. But why was he looking for a carpenter at this time? Zhang Feng knew that these 2 guys were muddle-headed. As he ate the glutinous rice balls, he said, "Pay more attention to the school's matters and put your heart on the right path. Don't think about women all day. When the time comes, won't it be easy to get women? Alright, after eating, I'm going back to sleep. If you want to learn, find a carpenter for me. If you don't want to learn, do whatever you want. Don't bother Lao Tzu. The two of them did not know why Zhang Feng was so angry for no reason. In the end, the two of them looked at each other. This guy had sent them away. It was obvious that he wanted to go to Yen Lai restaurant. Brother, we understand. Understood. Chapter 337. After sending the two away, Zhang Feng had nothing to do again. Today, the sun was covered by a large dark cloud, so the people on the streets of Chang and city were more energetic, but the most energetic were the locusts flying all over the sky. Wherever the locusts passed, although it wasn't to say that not even a blade of grass grew, it wasn't much better. On the leaves of the trees on the street, there were large and small holes, as well as the dense locusts lying on them, all of which were the locusts' way of declaring their territory to human beings. Looking at the locusts flying all over the sky, Zhang Feng was not in the mood to think too much. Now, he already had enough troubles. The Zhang family's marriage was already a headache for him. Now, there was another person like Jing Shu. It would be strange if he didn't feel annoyed. Now he did not know whether Granny Wang would be waiting for him on the street. But it was strange. Today, he did not see the old scholar, nor did the Zhang family's pastry shop open. It seemed that everything was strange today. While walking aimlessly, Zhang Feng was lost in thought. Unconsciously, Zhang Feng walked onto the streets of the East Market. In an instant, he was almost choked to death by the shouts of hawkers, the pungent smell of sweat, and the unique smell of the bearded merchants from the western region. Zhang Feng did not think about it anymore. After all, things would cross the bridge when they came to it. First, it would be better to see if he could get some baobei from the bearded merchant. After all, since the suppression of the Guanlong group on the waterways in Chang was lifted, the business in Chang had been booming. At this time, Chang'an was the East Market, which was mostly populated by barbarian merchants or merchants from the Nanzhao Kingdom. The West Market had become some local markets in the Tang dynasty. Zhang Feng looked at all kinds of people from other regions. Among them, Zhang Feng even saw a man holding a whip and driving a group of Hu girls to sell them as livestock. Although he did it secretly, in the end, he was invited to have tea by the officials. How dare they buy and sell people in the Tang dynasty, especially in Chang'an? Come, have a cup of tea first. There were also barbarian merchants who were hawking nugget gold, causing Zhang Feng to feel envious. However, when Zhang Feng picked up a piece of nugget gold the size of his head and bit into it, the bitter taste almost made Zhang Feng vomit out the wine he drank last night. Can't you at least make it look more realistic? Damn you! Get a rock and smear some gold powder on it. This is AF** king scam. Heartless. Profiteer. Zhang Feng angrily cursed the unscrupulous merchant as he left. Don't look at the innocent and honest barbarian merchants. Their hearts were F** king black, just like them. Who knew how many people he had fooled with his kind face? At this point, Zhang Feng saw exquisite glass products, fur, jade, gems, and the like. With just a glance, he knew that they were fake. Why? Didn't you see that person's shifty eyes? Before he knew it, Zhang Feng had already finished touring the entire East Market. When he was about to return to the small tavern, his gaze fell on a piece of black stuff. A man from the southern Shao Kingdom with a headscarf wrapped around his head was sitting cross-legged in front of a stall, taking a nap. On a piece of sheepskin in front of his stall were 3 pieces of black stuff the size of millstones. They were black and emitted a pungent smell. There were even flies and locusts on them. This lazy fellow didn't even intend to clean them up. No wonder no one was looking at them. However, it was precisely because of this that Zhang Feng felt a burst of ecstasy in his heart. What the F** was this? This was rubber. And from the looks of it, it was an old rubber. This thing was a baobao. Shopkeeper, how much are you selling this pitch-black thing? Zhang Feng suppressed the surprise in his heart and asked calmly while pinching his nose. The merchant was very tanned. His eyes were sunken and his white beard was strung together. He looked very much like a monkey on the mountain. When the middle-aged merchant saw that someone was asking for a price, he instantly stopped dozing off and asked with a licking face, "Sir, have you taken a fancy to our 3 bags? What is this thing of yours?" Zhang Feng pinched his nose and pretended to be confused. "Well, I don't know either. I just saw that he liked it, so I brought it from the southern Shao Kingdom. I wanted to try my luck, but no one knows this thing." "Stop! I'm asking you, what is this thing?" Zhang Feng also lost his temper. What he was most afraid of now was being long-winded. If anyone dared to be more long-winded than him, he would beat them up in minutes. However, now that something good had appeared, he could only be patient. When the man saw that Zhang Feng had lost interest, he hurriedly said, "This is a kind of resin from the southern Shao Kingdom. It's unusually strong. If you smear it on your straw shoes, it will make them exceptionally durable. It's the adhesive used in the southern Shao Kingdom to build ships." "Stop! How much are these 3 pieces of yours?" As soon as he saw Zhang Feng make a bid, the merchant's eyes instantly burned with passion. He almost knelt down to Zhang Feng. "Seeing that you're from Chang and I won't ask for much. Just give me 100 strings of coins for these 3 pieces." 100? King really think that Lao Tzu is a pig to be slaughtered? Zhang Feng was angry. He got up and prepared to leave after cursing. The cursing here instantly attracted 2 yamen runners to maintain law and order. When the merchant saw this, he was instantly scared out of his wits. He hurriedly grabbed Zhang Feng's trousers and said with a sobbing tone, "Sir, just give me money for the meal. Deal." Chapter 338. Zhang Feng acted like a thief. Under the watchful eyes of all the bailiffs who were in charge of maintaining the order of the market, he carried a sheepskin package the size of a water tank and hurriedly ran back. As he ran, Zhang Feng was like an idiot. His mouth was so wide that it stretched all the way to his ears. Not because of anything else, but because he was carrying these 3 lumps of oak resin. He could not help but have a crazy idea in his mind. If he could use these 3 lumps of resin to make rubber and then make them into tires, that would be awesome. This would be the real god of showing off. You can sit in a sedan chair, you can ride a horse. Sure, Lao Tzu did not know how to ride a horse, but Lao Tzu knew how to ride a bicycle. In this era, this toy could be considered as the only one that belonged to me, Zhang Feng, right? As Zhang Feng thought of this, his smile became even more eccentric. When he returned to the tavern, he saw that the door to the tavern had already been fixed. Du Go and the others were nowhere to be seen. Only the old scholar, Granny Wang, old He, and the others were sitting in the tavern. As for Guzi and Juzi, they were like loyal guards. They had already hidden at the entrance of the alley. When they saw Zhang Feng return, they hurriedly said, "Brother Feng, you are finally back. You don't know, but my father and the others said that they had found a good date for you. Next month, you will marry that little woman from the Zhang family." Zhang Feng was dumbfounded. "Juzi, how did you know about this?" Juzi sniffled and looked at Zhang Feng suspiciously. "Brother Feng, you really don't know?" Zhang Feng's head shook like a rattle drum. Guzi and Juzi were a little convinced. "Brother Feng, it's like this. Didn't you break into the brothel last night? Although it's not known to those gossipy women in the market yet, it's only a matter of time before they find out. Therefore, Granny Wang found the old scholar and my father and planned to come to you today to get your birth date and horoscope. Then, I'll give it to you." "Wait, how did your father and the others find out? Also, when Lao Tzu went to the brothel, that was to make friends with poetry. Do you understand?" Zhang Feng argued, but what was he supposed to say to these little kids? Annoyed, he put down the tree trunk in his arms and threw it to the 2 of them. "Hide this well for me. I have great use for it. Don't let anyone know, and don't open it. Do you understand?" Seeing that Zhang Feng was so serious, Guzi and Juzi patted their chests loudly. Only then did Zhang Feng put his hands behind his back, turned a corner with a frown, and entered the tavern with his head lowered. As soon as they entered the tavern, Zhang Feng was pulled back by Granny Wang. "Yo, brother Zhang, you're back? Come, have a seat. I'm here today for nothing else." I'm just thinking that there are a few good hours next month. Why don't we settle this matter and get married next month? Zhang Feng was speechless. The date hasn't even been set yet, and you're already thinking about it for me? Auntie, who are you? Although he was already cursing in his heart, Zhang Feng still put on a fake smile and said, Granny Wang, please have a seat first. We're not in a hurry about this matter. Didn't I say it before? My master once said that I can only get married after I enter the imperial court. Although our parents are no longer around, it won't be too late to talk about it after I ask my master. Don't you think so? This matter, the old scholar said with a serious face. If it was before, this matter would be easy to deal with, but you did such a ridiculous thing yesterday, and now even the Zhang family is asking about it. You tell me people need face and trees need bark. All the neighbors know about the matter between you and the Zhang family. Now that where will the Zhang family put their face? Also, have you thought about it? If a woman is rejected by her husband's family, then her life is ruined. Think about it carefully. Do you want reputation or something else? You said you want to ask your master. Fine, this old scholar will ask you. What is your master's name? Where does he live? The old man wants to ask him personally. Does he not want his disciple to get married and bring honor to the family? This old man has never met such a master in his life. The old man wants to ask him if he has ever learned what filial piety is. The old scholar was angry. Zhang Feng was speechless. His master was a figure made up out of thin air. How could he say that? He couldn't say that his master was Confucius, could he? The old scholar would definitely beat him to death if he said that. Old scholar, don't be anxious. My master doesn't have a fixed residence. Since the beginning of this year, he has been preparing to travel overseas. I don't know where he is now, but he said that at the end of the year, he will come back to spend the new year with me and teach me some knowledge about overseas. Zhang Feng could only go against his conscience and make up another lie. But this time, they seemed to have learned their lesson. They ignored Zhang Feng's lies and followed the old scholar's words. First, they gave him the date of birth. He knew a good fortune teller who could secretly give him the date of birth. Then, they would talk about what to do next. At the very least, they had to settle the marriage first. Without any other choice, Zhang Feng could only write down his date of birth. Of course, the date and month were correct. But for the year, he could only push back the date by 20 years. At this point, everyone finally left leisurely. Zhang Feng's body was like a deflated balloon. He looked at the door unfocused and muttered, "This won't do. I have to find a chance to meet this so-called Zhang Yuyao. This matter, why does it seem more and more like a trap to Lao Tzu?" At this point, Zhang Feng suddenly slapped his head. "Damn! I've been tricked. That damn Chintiniu. You let me see you. Damn it! You want to get me drunk and then bring me to the brothel? Damn it! What kind of brother is this?" Ao Ri. Chapter 339. In the next few days, Zhang Feng's life was relatively peaceful. Even the old scholar who had been forcing him to get married frowned deeply when he saw Zhang Feng. He shook his head and left. Even old he and the others were the same. Not only that, the dog and Zhu Zi seemed to have disappeared without a trace. This made Zhang Feng feel a little uneasy. Lao Li and the others, Chen Tiniu, and the others were also nowhere to be found. It seemed that everyone was very busy at this time. As for Zhang Feng, he was too lazy to be idle. The locusts that filled the sky seemed to be about to cover the sky and the sun. The weather was getting hotter and hotter. Looking at the locusts that filled the sky and the trees in Chang and city that were slowly becoming bald, Zhang Feng took the basket and went out. He had a premonition that this would happen, but he did not expect that there would be more locusts than he imagined. In the future, there were all kinds of pesticides that were sprayed on crops. There were locusts for hundreds of years, but there were only a few of them. It was not like this. If the total weight of the people on the street was weighed, it might not be heavier than the total number of locusts in Chang and city. This was the horror of ancient times. The market in Chang and city was on the east side of the Yong and canal at Huitongfang. It was usually open early in the morning, and there was already a sea of people there. After the establishment of the cooperative, the standard of living of the people really improved by more than a little. The market could not help but have more people. Everyone was carrying a basket with their hands behind their backs and strolling around blindly, like a landlord patrolling his own property. Those who did not know would think that these people were the owners of these stalls, but those who knew would know that it was because they had money in their pockets. Burning money. If it was only 1 or 2 people, it would be fine. But basically, the people in Chang and City were all like this. It was as if Chang and City was run by someone else. This scene made all the barbarian merchants go crazy. Why? The people of Chang and were really too rich. Every time an empty basket was sent out, the basket would be filled to the brim by the time it came back. They would even talk to people they knew or didn't know from time to time. They would even raise the basket in their hands and wave it in front of your eyes. But today was different. She didn't know if it was because Zhang Feng hadn't gone out for the past few days. In today's market, not only were there fewer people strolling around with their hands clasped behind their backs, even the people selling vegetables had disappeared. Zhang Feng had no idea what was going on. However, he vaguely felt that something was wrong. After strolling around the market, he didn't even see a single green vegetable. What the hell was this? Could it be that Lao Tzu was out of season? Something's not right. Zhang Feng raised his head in confusion and looked at the scorching sun. It was June, right? What's the problem here? Zhang Feng scratched his head and sat at the fermented glutinous rice paste stall. He woke up the shopkeeper who was dozing off. Manager. A bowl of fermented glutinous rice with eggs. The shopkeeper perked up when he heard that. All right, sir. Please wait a moment. Manager, what's wrong with the market? Why is there no more vegetables? Zhang Feng asked the question that had been on his mind. The shopkeeper shook his head and sighed. Sigh. Young man, I can tell that you don't go out often. Look at the sky. Locusts. That's right. Punishment from the heavens. Disaster from the heavens. Go outside Chang and City and take a look. The mountains are all bare. Where are the vegetables? Now, people outside the city don't even dare to go out. Poor thing. This time, all the farmers are in trouble. Sigh. The shopkeeper didn't mean it, but Zhang Feng was shocked. Shopkeeper, weren't there countless people digging for locusts' eggs early this morning? Why are there so many of them? Zhang Feng had brought up the matter in April or May. At that time, he saw that the people around Chang and had basically turned the surrounding land upside down. How could there be any locusts' eggs? In the end, the locusts' eggs became a hot commodity. They had to be imported from Longyu Road, but that was not enough to satisfy the needs of the rich. There was no other reason other than Zhang Feng's statement that this thing could strengthen the sex drive and nourish the kidneys. In an instant, this thing that even chickens despised instantly became a delicacy for the upper echelons of society. The shopkeeper brought over a bowl of steaming hot glutinous rice with eggs inside. He didn't regard himself as an outsider and sat down beside Zhang Feng, saying, "That thing has legs. We don't have them here, but he has them elsewhere. Those things live in groups. When they fly, they'll form a huge black cloud. How do you think we can get them here?" Sigh. It's already the end of the day, and I've only sold 3 bowls of fermented glutinous rice paste. This business is hard to do. Zhang Feng's face turned serious when he heard that. Just as the shopkeeper said, the locusts around Chang and City had been stopped. But, damn it, Tubo and Tuyuhun couldn't control them. Now that the locusts had exploded, what would happen to Tubo and Tuyuhun? If they didn't treat them now, when the locusts swept through the Tang dynasty, they would have to go back to primitive times to eat grass and tree bark. But this seemed to be a good business opportunity. Chapter 340. Zhang Feng wandered aimlessly around Chang and Street. Most of the things he saw were brown, green, and brownish-yellow locusts. The sky was filled with locusts. In the end, there were so many locusts that people couldn't even move. Zhang Feng, with his head full of locusts, returned to the tavern resentfully. Damn it! It seemed like he couldn't afford to eat vegetables this year. Zhang Feng muttered as he kicked a stone and slowly walked forward. When he finally saw his own tavern, he saw a person sticking his butt out and peeking through the crack in the door. The person was wearing a purple robe. Who else could it be other than Lao Li? Hey, Lao Li, is there something wrong with your eyes? I've already locked the door. Why are you still peeping? Zhang Feng appeared silently behind Li Shimin. His voice scared Li Shimin so much that he almost passed out on the spot. When he turned around and saw that it was Zhang Feng, he patted his chest and heaved a sigh of relief. I say, kid, can't you make a sound when you walk? You scared me so much. Li Shimin muttered as he urged Zhang Feng to open the door. As soon as they entered, the locusts that filled the sky were blocked outside. Li Shimin said with a worried face, Brother, you saw the locusts that filled the sky. Didn't you say that this thing has been prevented? And last time, didn't you say that the locust plague would only break out next year? Look at this. What should we do? The locusts that filled the sky even affected Li Shimin's back garden, the imperial garden, and the imperial plantation. How could Li Shimin not be worried? And the imperial city was not spared either. The locusts that filled the sky and covered the earth were even present in the political announcement hall. This caused the people from the imperial astronomer to swindle them again during the morning assembly. The entire assembly was filled with cries and cries. There were all sorts of things, such as calamities descending from the heavens and whatnot. Li Shimin was about to explode from anger. Only then did he come to find Zhang Feng to drink to relieve his boredom. Lao Li, don't be anxious. Why don't you take a look and see if my prediction is accurate? What's there to approve? Li Shimin spread out his hands and glared. This thing is about to eat people. If it continues like this, we'll have to deal with it. What do you think we should do now that the food supply has been affected? Alas! Zhang Feng slowly patted Li Shimin's shoulder. Lao Li, don't rush. Drink a mouthful of wine first to calm your nerves. Look at the emperor, he's not in a hurry. You're just a commoner, why are you in a hurry? With that little industry of yours, I don't think it's as good as your salt-making skills. What business with Jinla? Or the cooperative? Just one of them is already your total income for the past year, right? What's the hurry? If the industry of Longyu Road is gone, then it's gone. What's money? Money is a bastard. If it's gone, can't we just earn it again? Also, Lao Li, let me tell you a secret. Zhang Feng's casual expression made Li Shimin gnash his teeth. He wanted to punch this guy's face into mush, but he held it in and said speechlessly, What time is it now? Do you still have money? If this continues, it'll be over sooner or later. You don't know. The price of food has doubled now. Even if you said there would be a locust plague, the food you asked me to store won't be enough to last until this time next year. This is not a solution, right? We'll starve to death sooner or later. Li Shimin poured out his grievances. Zhang Feng was alone. This disaster was nothing to him. But Li Shimin was different. He had a big family business. The entire Tang dynasty belonged to his family. Now that this was happening, how could he not be anxious? Millions of people were waiting for him to feed them. Zhang Feng patted Li Shimin's shoulder and whispered, Lao Li, this is the time for us to get rich. Let me tell you first, if you want to do it, we'll do it together. If you don't want to, Lao Tzu will do it alone. When the time comes, don't be jealous. Hearing this, Li Shimin was stunned. He knew Zhang Feng's temper very well. As long as he was being mean, he would definitely say something important. However, as soon as he said something serious, you had to be careful. But now, could it be that this guy was not bluffing but pretending? Li Shimin couldn't help but ask, You? Tell me about it? Zhang Feng leisurely took out a few plums from his bosom. As he ate, he said, Actually, this method is exactly the same as the one we came up with to control the locusts. What? The same? I'm afraid you don't know the current situation? At that time, the locusts were still eggs. Everything was easy. Just get a hoe and dig. And with your bluffing skills, you did make a lot of money. But it's different now. With locusts all over the sky, even if you want to bluff, you have to be able to bluff. Look, at that time, the eggs were yellow and shiny. After frying them and biting into them, they were all meat and oil. After coating them with flour, even if people knew, they could still eat them. But who hasn't seen these locusts before? These things have been pests since ancient times. Tell me, if I made these things for you to eat, would you eat them? Li Shimin was speechless. But Zhang Feng mysteriously came out of the kitchen with a dustpan full of fried yellow locusts. He waved his hand at Li Shimin and said, Lao Li, look, what is this? Chapter 341. When Li Shimin saw this, his hair instantly stood on end. Brother Zhang Feng, you, munch, munch. Under Li Shimin's horrified gaze, Zhang Feng grabbed a handful of grasshoppers and stuffed them into his mouth. The spicy and salt-flavored grasshoppers instantly spread out in Zhang Feng's mouth. Seeing this, Li Shimin's heart pounded again. Fortunately, he had the experience of eating insect eggs before. Although it was a little disgusting this time, Li Shimin managed to hold back and not vomit. However, looking at Zhang Feng eating with relish, Li Shimin couldn't hold back anymore. Brother Zhang Feng, this stage, you can't eat this. Even if it's valuable, you can't degrade yourself. Degrade himself? Zhang Feng was dumbfounded. This thing, in his era, had already become a F***king snack. Wasn't that good? Moreover, it was a snack that was suitable for both young and old. How did this become degrade himself? Zhang Feng threw the dustpan on the table. In an instant, the fried grasshoppers shook in the dustpan, making Li Shimin's hair stand up again. Zhang Feng drank a mouthful of wine happily, then said, Lao Li, come. The insect eggs from last time weren't as delicious as this one. Let me ask you, after eating the insect eggs last time, did you have diarrhea, stomach pain, or any other discomfort? No. Li Shimin shook his head and said truthfully, No. Isn't that enough? Let me ask you, how's the effect of tonifying the kidney? Not bad. Zhang Feng spread his hands and said, Isn't that enough? Think about it. That thing had such a strong effect when it was young. Think about it. How can the effect of this thing be bad? Zhang Feng quietly whispered into Li Shimin's ear, revealing a smile that anyone could understand, and said, Lao Li, this thing is good for the kidneys. Aren't you going to try it? Li Shimin was dumbfounded. Really? Why would I, Zhang Feng, lie to you? Sigh, old Li, what the F***ck? When have I ever tricked you? Zhang Feng was not willing to do that. Glaring at him, he said as he ate, It's up to you whether you want to eat or not. When the time comes, I will set up a factory in Chong and, no, in every place. I will only process and produce this stuff. Think about it. Lao Tzu said that this stuff can strengthen the sex drive. Think about it, who wouldn't want to buy it? Even if Lao Tzu says that this thing is worth 10 taels of silver, think about those high-ranking officials and wealthy families. Wouldn't they want it? You know this. Li Shimin was dumbfounded. Was this thing really as magical as Zhang Feng said it was? Li Shimin picked out a relatively small grasshopper from the dustpan, closed his eyes, and threw it into his mouth. But the moment Li Shimin's teeth bit into the grasshopper, his entire expression froze. The taste of salt and pepper, as well as the fresh and crisp taste of the grasshopper, was more delicious than chicken, more tender than rabbit, or even snake meat. Is it delicious? Zhang Feng looked at Li Shimin's shocked expression, then patted Li Shimin's shoulder. Lao Li, that's how it is. Last time you also earned a lot from the insect eggs. This time, look, the whole sky is filled with them. What is this? This is money flying in the sky. Don't you want to put it in your pocket? Of course I do. But this thing, I said, even if I can accept it now, can the people accept it? Think about it. How do you deal with this thing? Believe it or not, if you throw out a dustpan of grasshoppers, your legs will be broken in minutes. Li Shimin quickly stuffed grasshoppers into his mouth, while pointing at Zhang Feng. Zhang Feng's eyes were wide open. I say, Lao Li, you can say that, but this grasshopper, can you eat it slowly? You can even make something like this in your residence? Didn't I give you the secret recipe last time? Why are you snatching it from me? Snatching it is one thing, But why are you insulting me like this? Do you want to keep it all to yourself? Zhang Feng suddenly understood. This guy wants to say that this thing is useless, and then secretly make a fortune? This won't do. Li Shimin's mouth twitched. He glanced at Zhang Feng's suspicious face and said, "How can this be? Wasn't I just telling the truth? This thing I like to eat, but you have to know if the people can accept it. This thing is not only you, even if it is covered in flour, the people can still see this thing at a glance. It is a grasshopper. You don't have to worry about this. Since I, Zhang Feng, dared to say it, then there is nothing that I, Zhang Feng, can't do. Let me ask you now, do you dare to do it with me?" Zhang Feng patted his chest, picked up the bowl of wine, and took a big gulp. Then he said slowly, "Actually, you know the advantages of this grasshopper. It strengthens the body and contains many things that you don't know. Look, what does the grasshopper eat? It eats grass, leaves, and grains, right? This is the essence of grains. Oldly, all you need to do is stand there and shout. This thing can strengthen the sex drive in the body. Eating 1 gene of it is equivalent to eating 1 gene of pork. Go and see if this thing is hard to sell or not." Chapter 342. Zhang Feng couldn't possibly tell him that the locusts were high in protein and amino acids, could he? Even if he said it out loud, Li Shimin could only reply with he. The problem was that he didn't understand. Zhang Feng was also excited. This was a no-cost business. Even if Li Shimin didn't participate, he would still do it. This was a no-cost business. However, Li Shimin wasn't happy about it. He asked, "I know about these things. I've eaten the eggs too. It's just as you said. But there are too many of them. You only think about making money. But have you thought about how harmful these things are? Let's not talk about other things. How are we going to catch all of them?" As he spoke, Li Shimin pointed at the dense locusts crawling on the paper window and smiled bitterly. "Let's think about how to get rid of these things first. Otherwise, I can guarantee that we'll all starve in less than a month." Well, Zhang Feng also realized the seriousness of the problem. He thought about how to get rid of the locusts and came up with 3 plans in an instant. This is His Majesty's business. Let's not worry about it, shall we? Not worry. Li Shimin's eyes were wide open. You say it as if you're not harmed by these things. Let me ask you, where are you going to buy food in a month? What are you going to eat and drink? There will be locusts everywhere. Even if these things are really so good, we can't eat locusts every day, right? Li Shimin's words made sense. Zhang Feng couldn't help but stop eating the locusts. He touched his greasy chin and thought for a while before saying, "If it were me, I have 3 ways to get rid of the locusts effectively." What ways? Li Shimin hurried over when he heard that. The chicken and duck army was not very reliable now. He had thought about it, but when he saw the dense locusts in the imperial garden, how many chickens and ducks would it take to finish all of them? This method was definitely a drop in the bucket. "I have 3 ideas. Lao Li, which one do you want to hear first?" Li Shimin frowned. "Don't talk about the chicken and duck army. He's not reliable at all." "Not a chicken and duck army." Zhang Feng faintly smiled. "Now, the chicken and duck army can only be considered as auxiliary troops. Remember my first method well. The first one is to use medicine. Insecticide." Li Shimin's eyes lit up. "Are you talking about arsenic?" "Get lost." Zhang Feng's face darkened when he heard that. "How many of these do you have? How much can you afford? Even if you can afford it, let's not talk about whether this thing can poison the locusts to death. I can guarantee that before the locusts are poisoned to death, your head will be chopped off. Can't you use your brain? You can use arsenic on this thing? Do you have money to burn? Or do you want to die? Have you thought about it? Once you use arsenic, I estimate that in no time, more than half of the people in Chong and city will be killed by you. Think about it carefully. Do you want to live, or do you want something else?" Li Shimin's face changed abruptly when he heard that. He asked hurriedly, "Then tell me, what should I use this thing?" "Mugwort plus some other things, realgar powder and that honey locust. Mix these things with a little bit of pepper and petunia, then boil it into water and spray it out. Even if people accidentally eat it, they will only have a stomachache for a while, and then nothing will happen to them. Moreover, this thing is cheap and can be easily obtained. Tell me, why do you like arsenic so much? Doesn't this harmless thing taste good? Zhang Feng scolded Li Shimin harshly. The key point was that he was afraid of this grandson. If he really dared to do that, there would be a big problem. Putting aside how long it would take for the locusts to take effect after eating arsenic, as long as they crawled on the food you ate and ate it, wouldn't that be the end of you? He really didn't use his F*king brain. Li Shimin was also scolded by Zhang Feng as if he had done something wrong. Moreover, he was also carefully thinking about the meaning behind it. He had just casually mentioned the arsenic. Who would dare to use it? It was a controlled item. If anyone wanted to use it, they would have to report it to the authorities. Even if he wanted to use it, he might not be able to get it. Moreover, with the production of this thing, it was impossible to deal with so many locusts. However, Li Shimin only needed to think about the method that Zhang Feng mentioned and instantly knew the price. It was less than 10 copper coins in total. Not only was it not expensive, but those things were everywhere in the mountains and plains. They would never be used up. What was the most important thing? It was harmless to people. That was the most important thing. However, when he thought of Zhang Feng's two other methods, Li Shimin couldn't help but ask excitedly, "Brother Zhang Feng, what do you think is the other method? What is it?" Zhang Feng stretched out two fingers and shook them. "No, there is one more. In fact, I have countless. Which one do you want to hear first?" Li Shimin hurriedly asked. "Then tell me all of them?" "Well, all right then, I'll give you a country bumpkin like you. Remember, the second method is fire attack." Chapter 343. Fire attack? Could it be that Zhang Feng really wanted to use fire to burn it down? Wouldn't he burn down the entire Tang dynasty? "Brother Zhang Feng, isn't your method a bit too much? Let's not talk about anything else. Just this Chang'an city, wouldn't you burn down Longtu Mountain and Qinling Mountain? Isn't that a bit too much?" "What the F***ck?" Zhang Feng was speechless. "I say, Lao Li, what are you doing? Am I not giving you an example? I said that if I were the emperor I would do this. Can you listen to me first?" Fine. I want to see how you plan to burn down a mountain. Then you will lose your life before you even enter the imperial court." Li Shimin was also interested. When Zhang Feng heard this, he was instantly unwilling. He thought to himself, "Old Li, what the hell do you know?" Although Lao Tzu didn't understand, Lao Tzu had seen in TV dramas and novels about how to prevent fire from locusts. "What do you know?" "Lao Li, this is just my guess. As for how the higher-ups will do it, it's not something for us to worry about. Don't get agitated. Aren't we just drinking and chatting? Don't get agitated." Zhang Feng patted Li Shimin's shoulder, picked up his wine bowl, and clinked it with him. Li Shimin then slowly said, "I'm just worried. If you really do that, then won't you be completely finished? Your talent in this life, won't it be so? Lao Li, there's something wrong with you." Zhang Feng pointed at Li Shimin's head and said speechlessly, "Aren't we chatting? Do you think I'm that stupid? Why would I burn it down? What I'm saying is, if I were that person. Let's talk about this fire now. Think about it, who the F***ck said that they had to burn the mountain. Did the locusts migrate in groups? When the locusts are coming, we only need to clear out a fire belt that is 10 feet wide at the place where the locusts will pass through. Then we can burn a large number of locusts to death. Do you think it's feasible? Why did they have to burn down the mountain? What are you thinking about?" Hearing this, Li Shimin felt relieved. But after glancing at Zhang Feng, he muttered, "Who told you not to make it clear? I thought you were talking about burning the mountain." "All right, that's not a long-term solution, and many places are not suitable for this thing, such as Chang'an City. What should we do?" "Did you forget about the pesticide I mentioned?" Zhang Feng smiled mysteriously. "Like I said, I have countless ways to deal with these things for you in a matter of minutes." "All right, stop bragging." Li Shimin was speechless. "Let's not talk about Chang'an City first. Let's talk about the locusts in Longyu Road. How are we going to deal with them? My hundreds of acres of medicinal herb land. They're all F***king destroyed." As he spoke, Li Shimin squeezed out a few drops of tears from his eyes. Zhang Feng curled his lips. He said speechlessly, all right. How old are you? Why are you shedding tears over such a trivial matter? By the way, I told you to prepare an army of chickens and ducks last time. How many did you get? Li Shimin's expression froze when he heard this. Zhang Feng looked at him and lost his composure. Why? You didn't do it? Well, it was still early the last time. And at that time, the locusts were in the soil. I thought it was too early to do it now, so I didn't do it. Besides, there was that thing after that, right? So, Zhang Feng was stunned. I say, Lao Li, you're really something. I told you last time that this thing is good for dealing with locusts. Now you... Alright, let's not talk about this. If you don't have it, you can do it now. It's not too late. You can even make some money. Li Shimin hurriedly changed the topic. Well, didn't you say that there are many ways to deal with them? Tell me about the chickens and ducks. It's not too late to go and buy them now. There's definitely a way, but I don't know if it's profitable. I still think that collecting locusts and learning from the eggs is as reliable. Alright, stop glaring at me. Be careful, your eyeballs might fall out. Zhang Feng looked at Li Shimin's glare and changed the topic gloomily. Actually, if you use a little bit of the insecticide I made in the pharmacy when you attack with fire, the effect will be better. And this thing, even if it's sprayed in Chang'an City, it won't poison the people. As I said before, let's not talk about this method. There's also an army of chickens and ducks. But you don't have it, and I don't have it either. If you have it, you can burn it with fire, then smoke it with insecticide, and eat it with chickens, ducks, and pigs. Basically, it will only take a month for the locusts in the Tang dynasty to disappear completely. But it depends on what the emperor wants to do. Zhang Feng spread his hands speechlessly. He didn't say anything else. However, Zhang Feng looked at Li Shimin, who was frowning and deep in thought. He couldn't help but ask curiously, Lao Li, I've been wondering where your mansion is. I've been wandering in Chang'an City for so long. Why haven't I seen it? And damn it, what are you worried about? What does this have to do with you? Even if the sky falls, the emperor will hold it up for us. Maybe you just wait. I bet that the emperor will think of a way tomorrow morning, or maybe not long after. Let's think about how to use this opportunity to set up the factory. If you don't want to do it, I'll do it alone.